And we are live. If you can hear me okay, please give us a 5 by 5 in the comments. Tonight we have a repeat guest, which is US did 9/11 on X. We are going to be doing a deep dive on the video footage from the Charlie Kirk assassination. Last time he was on, he had a lot of great notes to share on very specific video frames and very specific videos and such. He has a lot of good ideas on what types of things might be under the shirt, what types of things might be coming out of the shirt, those sorts of things. He also has some criticisms of my theory. So we're going to get into that as soon as we can tonight. And Kelly is on here again, of course. And I'll throw it to her in order to introduce US 9/11 again.
Thank you so much for having me, Jordan. As always, it's been wonderful to do these segments with you every Thursday evening. And it's a pleasure to have US Did 9/11 again with us this evening. For the second time, we had such great feedback. Just to recap a little bit, US Did 9/11 is a really incredible artisan who, let's see, do we have... I don't know if we have his website pulled up. I don't have that right now, but he is an incredible artisan. If you'd like to know a little bit more about his background, creates these beautiful works of art, furniture, and really just had a passion for taking a closer look at different events, including the Charlie Kirk case. And I'll turn it over to him for just a brief minute to tell us. I know the last time you dove into it a little more, but if you could just very briefly this time tell us what piqued your interest about this case, in case anyone did not hear the first go round.
Oh, yes. Hi. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Can you just repeat that question exactly one more time? What has drove me into investigating this case? Was that
Yes, please.
I think I had a little hard time answering it last time, being specific, because it was kind of just very natural. The event happened. Of course, I was on top of it, just being curious of the event. Realized that official story, of course, was bogus. Took me about half a day to realize that part, and the rest kind of just started falling into its own place, because I started discovering a lot of anomalies. A lot of other people have also. I probably was not that much different in the first few days, but then I just started discovering a lot of anomalies that others have overlooked, and I just kind of got sucked into it naturally without thinking much about it.
So no formal background in investigating cases or working with, working with data, working with video editing, things like that.
No, I've never made a video specifically until last October. However, as far as investigating, I've looked at the multiple cases before, just like an observer. And in fact, I think I solved quite a few, or quite a bit of other cases that others were never able to solve, like Boston Marathon, for example. I looked at those images. I never posted or published them anywhere, but I looked at them myself, and it was years ago. I'm not even sure I had the computer set up properly in those days, but I've discovered a lot of things that nobody else was able to until this very day. And we can maybe have another show on that, on the Boston Marathon. That's kind of an old news, but I'm pretty much.
What did you find about Boston Marathon?
Well, it's of the subject of today's discussion, but what happened there, just roughly there was a double event. Allegedly, there was a bomb went off at the finish line, and about 15 seconds later, another one went off, like about half a mile further down the street. You do know that part, right?
Yeah.
And everybody, of course, was either taking the official version that there were two bombs went off, and others were presenting a lot of evidence. There were some guys with the backpacks and not very credible evidence, but some suggestive evidence that there was a fakery. And nobody really looked at the secondary explosion. What I discovered, and then we can have a show on that with exact, very detailed evidence on images, that on the finish line, it was all fake. There was nobody got killed or injured at the finish line. However, However, it was a real event on a second blast place. People did get injured and maybe some were even killed on a second place, which was
Okay.
half a
Well,
mile
that's
down.
interesting.
So I can show plenty of photographic evidence that will demonstrate to you what I'm saying. But I've discovered that like on my own, never had a show or deep discussion with anybody on that. But it was a
Now,
double
that
event.
is what this show is about, though. It's not just about Charlie Kirk, it's about other claims like that one. But today is about Charlie Kirk. But if you or anyone else has a theory sort of in that same vein, let us know. If you have it fleshed out enough to come on and present, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, I could. I still have the folder with all those Boston Marathon files. I have to probably refresh my memory over it, but basically, in a nutshell, that's what happened. It was a double event, part hoax, kind of partially resembles this event, but that event was also part hoax and part real. One bomb was real, at the finish line was all hoax. There were only trauma actors at the finish line. So
Okay.
that's what you asked me a question. I'm just giving you the answer without giving you any proof at the moment.
Sure thing. Well, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. Jordan, would you like to go ahead and jump into the updates on our side or your side of the case, rather?
Let me know if I'm coming through okay, because you're breaking up a little bit. I think it's on my end because it's both of you. Just let me know if I'm not coming through. But yes, I will go ahead and give some updates on the faked death hypothesis testing that we've been doing. First of all, I want to address some of the criticism, not last week, but the week before, I think, which is with my demonstrations, when I do the squib thing, you compare my video with the video of Charlie Kirk. And perhaps one of the biggest differences is that Charlie Kirk's head goes down instantly at the time of impact, but mine doesn't. I can get my head to go down at the right time, but it doesn't go down nearly as fast as Charlie's does. What the solution to that is, I think, and what we think, Kelly and I, is a TENS unit, a TENS unit, which is sort of like an electrotherapy type device, I think, which is kind of like a taser almost, but it's supposed to be less violent than a taser. So what we think happened is he was delivered a shock at the same time as the squib in order to automatically tense those muscles and automatically cause this behavior and automatically cause the nodding behavior involuntarily in order to get that to happen at the exact same time and with the amount of violence that we see. Not violence, but the amount of speed that we see. So that's perhaps one of the biggest updates in this context is we think we know how to reproduce that. I'm not reproducing that right this second, though, but I definitely expect to soon. And we can look at videos online where it's done. And I don't have videos where it's done in such a way that it reproduces the exact same neck behavior. Maybe we can find those, but I thought I'd share that. We also have a new test this coming Sunday, which is supposed to be the biggest test so far. I mean, each one, it has been the biggest test so far, but I'm expecting this one to be the last test in this field because it's supposed to have every single element. It's supposed to have a lot of fake blood. It's supposed to have much better necklace behavior, and it's supposed to have much better front of shirt behavior. And so this next test is going to be the best I can do, I think, at this stage, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So those are the updates I have for now, and I'll throw it back to Kelly.
Excellent. Thank you for those updates. And we'll hear more on the fake death theory shortly. So, US did 9/11. Are you ready? We are going to turn it over to you for about up to 45 minutes to let you really dive into your theory. You will be able to present any media, photos, videos, etc., that you have prepared for today. I'll be keeping an eye on the clock. And if you're ready, you
Yes,
may begin.
yes. Thank you for the introduction.
Would
I
you
think
like me to begin your screen share now?
yes. Go ahead. Anytime.
Okay, your screen share is now active, so we can see your screen.
Okay. I just have a general image for now. I don't know if I'll be. I probably will jump off this image in a moment, but this is just a general for the time being. I just wanted to say in general for the audience because I'm not sure how many of those who are present today have heard me the first time. I have an extremely unusual position. Like, we have two camps. One camp believes that it was all real without any fakery involved. They would not entertain that possibility. And there's another camp which believes it was all fake and Charlie's still alive. And I'm probably the only one, at least of the researchers, maybe not of the general public, but of the people who research the subject. I think I'm the only one who actually holds the middle ground. So I'll be the last one that would claim that there was no fakery involved. I've been saying this for about 6 months. And we can go into, I don't think I'll be going into a lot of those details on this show, but just to let the public know, I'm the first one who would claim there was more fakery involved than most people even know, including Jordan. I think I've looked at a lot of imagery that shows a lot of fakery, which probably cannot even be shown on YouTube because of the gross nature. And don't know how much of that show we can ever do because the real evidence, we're not talking just like secondary hand evidence, like there's no death certificate, for example. That's not real evidence because death certificates are not available to the public. And some additional, which is not a direct evidence. But as far as direct, there's plenty of evidence there was fakery involved. So I would be the last one to question it or to deny it. And I was saying it from, again, I'm not sure how much I'll be able to show this if we ever have a show on that topic specifically. But the audience should know that I'm not a debunker of the fakery. However, when the question comes to faked death specifically, I always say, hey, don't be so fast. Maybe this case is just a little bit more complex than it seems to be on the surface because it's very easy to be in one camp or the other. And when you stand the middle ground, which say, well, yes, there was a lot of fakery, it's an obvious conclusion. If there was a fakery, people come to immediate conclusion or extrapolate it. Well, there was a fake assassination, so it had to be all faked. And they don't step back and decide to maybe consider a little bit more careful. Maybe there was fakery, and yet he was killed nevertheless. So I'm the only one probably of the researchers who's holding that middle ground, and I'm not doing this because I'm married to one theory or the other. I just want to solve the case, and I'm stick to evidence exclusively, not because I fantasize something. And I'll show in a minute that the evidence of he actually was killed or at least knocked out cold. So he was unconscious pretty much of the first to second frame. And I'll show you plenty of evidence. The evidence simply speaks of that, not because I like to believe it, which makes the whole case a lot more difficult to present and a lot more difficult to prove because most of the people, they either in one camp or the other, they're just not open. Their mind is not open to possibility of the other side, certainly not in between. And I've been taking a lot of heat from both sides for standing my ground in the middle. But just want to let your listeners know that I'm not the fakery denier. So what I think we need to establish first, whether the actual death part was faked or he actually was indeed killed and there was something. And that will make it a lot more difficult to put the case together. But I'm not challenged or moved. I'm not deterred by difficulty. I mean, I just look at the evidence, what it is. And if it makes this case easy to put together or not, I'm not moved by one or the other. I just mentioned a few words briefly about the Boston Marathon. And again, I think I'm the only one. I didn't have the option to make any videos in those years. I was pretty primitive. That was like, 10 years ago. I would have made some videos today. But in those days, I didn't have those options or the skill. But I've never seen another video or even anyone uttering a sentence that it was actually a double event. It was half fake. There were like two bombs went off and one was real and one was totally fake. I think I'm the only one who said it even in those days, so I've never made a video in that regard. So anyway, so that's my position. So I just want the audience to know that I'll be making a case that the death part itself was not faked. So the Charlie indeed is deceased. But as far as the fakery in general, I would be the last one to debate that because, again, I can show you a lot of evidence of real fakery. If I'm allowed to show this on YouTube, I don't know. But most of the people have not even looked at that kind of evidence at all, but I do have it. So would that be like a sufficient introduction of my general position?
Yes, I believe so. And I think just again, to state as clearly as possible your overarching theory, so that way people know off the top where you're going with this, and then you can dive in to your examples.
Okay, well, I'm going to take this image of the screen and I'll show you plenty of evidence of what I was just trying to describe. If anyone of the listeners would like to poke holes into what I was showing you, I suggest you get a pen and a piece of paper, and not a small piece of paper like a sticky notepad. You may need an 8 by 11 sheet of paper, and even that may not be enough because you'll see that the amount of evidence, I'll try to go as fast as I can. I usually do not talk very well when I try to rush myself, and I kind of try to just gobble up my words a little bit, but I know there's so much evidence that a full 8.5 by 11 sheet paper may not be enough for you to make all the notes. But
well, it looks like Kelly's ready, and I can pull up an electronic notepad as well.
Okay, well, I mean, for the audience, if they want to make like comments, they will need like a pretty big notebook to make their own comments if they would like to question. I'm sure you guys can keep up with me, but maybe not all the viewers.
I think we have a really intelligent audience.
Okay, well, sorry.
They're ready for you.
Okay, so let me bring up, hold on, let me bring up this video. I'll pause it for just a second. I'm going to refer to this video. I call it the body slam episode. This is when Charlie gets knocked off that chair. I'm going to play it in 2 different speeds. I kind of mentioned it in my first presentation last time that a lot of things look very differently when you have a chance to examine them at slow speed. A lot of actors, if you know how the acting is usually done, first of all, they play everything at a normal speed, number 1. Number 2, they always have multiple takes. Even after the rehearsal, even after practice, they still have take 1, cut, take 2, cut, take 3, cut, and etc. I'm sure you kind of generally know how that happens because they always pick the best possible option, even on the real play. I'm not just talking about rehearsal, because it's very hard to enact a real play that will mimic the real event. Also, those people do not count on viewers slowing the film down to 10% or 2%. So they usually look normal at a normal speed, but a lot of not errors, but the signs of the actual play or acting can be very easily discovered if those videos are slowed down or looked at frame by frame. We have the advantage here of slowing down our videos and look at individual frames. At a normal speed, there's no way to detect any of those details. Also, at the actors, when somebody is acting, there's one other thing they usually employ, and that's they segment, they splice. We'll have to keep it in mind because I'll go over multiple pieces of evidence, and you'll see this as a continuous acting or play without anything being spliced together. If you have a movie made, you have different, if somebody is sitting at a chair and they have like a regular discussion of playing chess, you can have that episode like 3 minutes long because there's nothing violent happening there. However, if you have a episode where you have a fight with people who have swords or a fist fight, it's so hard to videotape a continuous episode because the reel never mimics the play. So what they do, they resort to the skill, to the options of splicing little pieces together from different angles. If you look at let's say, Gladiator, for example, where there has a fight in a Colosseum, they have little episodes of each one, maybe 2 seconds or 3 seconds or half a second, and they splice them together from different angles, and the spliced together version looks real. But if you look at every individual segment, you'll see that the video stops exactly at the moment where that play becomes not very real. Because the tiger, let's say jumps in the Gladiator, that doesn't look real, or he's getting hit with a sword. That part doesn't look real because in the real play, you would never be hitting each other with a sword, right? So they're swinging at each other with the swords, but they don't really hit each other. So they splice those pieces together, and that's how the films are made. But here we have an advantage of looking at a continuous play instead of looking at those few splices together. And it's even in a movie industry with the professionals at play, it's impossible to recreate a real event. If it's a violent event in a play, it would always show in a slow motion. So here I'll play it for you without any commentary. This is about a minute long. I just want everyone to get familiar with this. Some people maybe have seen it, maybe not. Maybe if nobody has seen it at the slow speed, unless they will look at my work. I think I posted it somewhere before.
So where are you starting the video?
I'm sorry?
Where are you starting the video? Right here?
I'm going to start at the center, right at the beginning. And this is only a minute. This is at 10%.
Let's not show the part where he shot, only show after.
Yes, this is already, he is getting tipped over. This is definitely after. Flood is already tipping him over off the chair, and this is pretty much the fall. So I just want everyone to look at it as a full thing without my commentary, and then I'll play it again, even at a slower speed, and I'll point out to you where the most critical points here. So I'll just play it for now without my commentary. It's like, I think, let's see, how long is this? 50 seconds or something like that, maybe even less. So I'll just play it. This is at 10% speed. Okay, so that was it. So I'll play the same thing now at 2% speed, and I'll pause it. Hold on, let me start it from the beginning. One point here unrelated to our discussion here, but just in case if somebody will decide to make a note of this and ask me questions later, this is unrelated to our topic. You see this little item falling? That's Charlie's ring. This is irrelevant to our discussions here. I just want to cover this because a lot of people have picked on this and they say, what is that little thing falling? So that's just his ring, but it's kind of irrelevant. So let's play it again. So if you note my yellow arrow, you can see that's number 1. The chair is slipping here, and quite considerably. So just pay attention to the yellow arrow. Okay, I'll pause it for a second here. You can see how far his chair slipped. Now, I want to pause it here because you can see the bottom of this chair. This is just regular metal. Now, I'm in the furniture industry, and I can tell you, and most people would know, that any regular piece of furniture, chairs included, have rubber bump-ons or stops on the bottom to prevent their slipping. And maybe the cheap ones don't, but that's a pretty standard feature. So I want to set up a stage here. Let's assume this is a play. Let's just play the devil's advocate. Let's say it's an acting play. Of course, if any act like this, it will have to be rehearsed, and probably rehearsed like countless times. Even for the movie, it has to be rehearsed. But like I said, especially in this case, we do not have, the player would not have an option of take 1, take 2, and cut, and they'll have to play everything from A to Z, from the beginning to end, without any hiccups, without any possibility of repeat or rerun, or say, excuse me, let's, didn't come out right, let's redo it. They also have a disadvantage of having about a 3,000 people audience with about 300 different cameras. Of course, they would never know which we do not have 300 videos, but the people who would be assuming that this would play, they would never know which one of those 300 videos would be published or not. We probably have about 10, 20 videos, but they could never know in advance. Hello?
Check out the chair. Jordan has the chair.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes,
he's acquired the chair. It's quite impressive.
Can you see me right now?
No, I'm not looking at it.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's got. Sorry, he had his video pulled up, so he couldn't see Jordan.
I can see you now. I can see you now.
These chairs do not have the rubber feet.
Right.
They never have the rubber feet.
Well, not any chair. Maybe this chair doesn't. But if this was to be a hoax play, they would find a chair with rubber feet. So I just want to set up a scenario here where you say you have to let's assume you're trying to fake it, okay?
But
For the
these
faker,
chairs, when you look up these chairs, they never, ever have the rubber feet. I just want the audience to understand that. Thank you.
well, I believe you, but you would find some other chairs which would have rubber feet. I can assure you, I can find plenty of chairs that do. So in other words, if the setup is created, the setup has to be made A, safe, B, it has to be repeatable. So if the chair is slipping, there's no way to properly repeat it. So if you have even a professional stuntman, not an actor and not a Charlie who is not an actor at all, but if you have a professional stuntman and they would look at the setup, they say, hey, we cannot do the stunt because it's not repeatable, because every time the chair would slip a little bit different, especially when you have two people involved. One is sitting, the other is pushing. It depends on position of the body. He was not sitting stationary. He was moving his body. Depending on the position of the body at the time of the tilt, the chair would slip a little differently every time. So if you have a professional stuntman, they would look at the setup and say, wait a minute, we need to find another chair. Because this A is dangerous, number one, because if you cannot predict the outcome of the chair slipping, it's simply someone can get hurt. That's number one. Number two, they could never rehearse it properly because the way even the professional stuntman does it, they repeat it again the same way over and over and over, and they still don't usually come out right on the first attempt when the actual shooting takes place. They go take one, take two, take three, but for them to hit it right the first time, they would have to do 100%, 100 times rehearsal with exactly repeatable setup. So I'm sure there are chairs like that. I'm in the furniture business, but I can tell you, I'll find you plenty of chairs that do have a rubber. You can also put a rubber mat on a table. It would never, and I'll show you a few images in just a minute, that you have rubber mats on his other setups in the prior appearances. So it would never bring a question that something is not right with the setup if you just had a rubber mat. I mean, this is a pretty standard setup for anybody, even a zealous picker like me would not pick, hey, what's this rubber mat doing on top of the table? You could have a table which a cushiony surface. You could have a rubber mat on top of a cushiony surface, and you can also have a chair with a rubber feet on the bottom. And those are available. And if anybody would to work on the setup prior to the event, they would say, hey, this is not going to work. We cannot repeat this. It's too risky to get hurt. And B, we can fail. You have to understand, you have 3,000 people watching and 300 cameras, and not just cameras from one angle, but from all angles. Any kind of failure, any kind, will be caught immediately, and the whole hoax will fail. So any stuntman will say, this is not going to work. So I believe you, Jordan, that you have the right chair. But there are other chairs, and like I said, you can also put a rubber mat on the table. So that's number one. That's a no-no for any kind of, even a rehearsal. This would never get to the stage. This would never be rehearsed like that. So let me continue playing there. We're going to look at a lot of other details here. Now, okay. One other thing I want you to know, it's very hard to stop here exactly. This is the last moment where Charlie's elbow is visible. This is his shirt. And the elbow is kind of here. It's kind of getting dark. And why I have this, I'm not sure why I have this. Okay. Let me bring it up just a little bit here. Because when he starts falling, this is his elbow right here. When he goes a little lower, it's very hard to see his elbow. But in the later frame, before his elbow kind of disappears, this is maybe 10 inches. And you'll see it in the next frame too, that he is falling in a relaxed position. Now, I'm not sure how many of you viewers know how to fall. I've been a gymnast when I was a kid, and I played volleyball on a very high, close to professional level for about 10, 20 years. And I can tell you, I know very well how to fall, and I've fallen many times, never hurt myself. There's one rule about falling. You never fall in the relaxed position, because that's an automatic breeding ground for an injury, because body, when it crawls itself up, and the muscles have the capacity of supporting its own weight when it bounces around. But when the muscles are relaxed, you can have elbow broken, spine broken, neck broken. It's a rule number one on any falling. Some of you maybe have done any kind of athletics. They know what I'm talking about. Those who haven't, a lot of people injure themselves who do not know how to fall. If you fall in the relaxed position, It's a breeding ground for injury. And this is like an automatic. You do not have to teach this to anybody. It's a natural reaction. If a person is falling on a hard surface, they would like clump themselves in a little ball. They would not be having their elbow extended like this, because if I play this is at 2% speed. If I play it at normal speed, let's see how long it takes from this position to the actual fall. Okay, this was less than a second, okay? From that position to this position when he already fallen, that's less than a second, and this was at 2% speed. So the normal speed, this is maybe 100 to 200ths of a second. At a normal speed, it's not possible to tuck your elbow in from this position until the fall. He definitely hit his elbow. There would be just no time left. Like I said, it's a natural protective reaction of the body. If it falls and it nears the ground, it would just it kind of crawl into a ball and tuck the arms in. Nobody would ever fall with a elbow extended like that. So that's a red flag number 2. So he was falling in a relaxed position, which is just a no-no, and would never be rehearsed like this, let alone played. And I can tell you in a minute why it would never be played like that. It's very important why, but I'll get to that in just a moment. So let's continue. You can look at his head bouncing around. Unfortunately, this lady comes in front and blocks the view a little bit. Now I'll play it for you just one more time. You can see his head is bouncing around. He is clearly in a totally relaxed position. I'll show it to you again. I don't know how many of you can recognize it, but to me, it's a pretty clear he was in a totally relaxed position. Now, another thing you may notice here, so that was, let's see if I went over all the points. So first of all, there was another item about the height of the table. I'm going to get back to that. Actually, I skipped one item here. So far counted 3. So number 1, the chair slipping. Number 2, he's falling in a relaxed position. Number 3, he is falling. His head and his shoulder falls right between the 2 casters. Now he's falling in this case. I think this is like equipment case. And let's see if I can catch the exact moment here. Let's see, hold on a second. I need to catch the best moment that shows. Okay, there it is. You have 2 casters here. This is the case, so there's some kind of a bump on here. It's very hard to see what exactly they're reflecting. Maybe this is a caster with a metal pin, and maybe it is this. It's hard to even say what, but the bottom line is this case was in a position which had 2 casters on this end. I can show you a still image later, but you'll see. So again, if this is rehearsed, nobody in the right mind would ever try to rehearse it with his head landing between 2 casters and his shoulder. His shoulder lands right about here, and his head lands right about here. Simply because first of all, it doesn't make any sense. Second of all, it's a risk for an injury, and it's not just to protect Charlie from an injury. You have to understand that if this is not an acted play in a movie where something can be replayed, here they did not have a chance to replay anything. So somebody who's rehearsing it, they would have to realize that any kind of hurt, if he would land his shoulder on a caster or the head, he could probably hurt himself very well to begin with, but let alone, never mind the hurt part, the whole play would be screwed up instantaneously, because if he was hurt, he'd be moaning, groaning, making grimaces. Basically, he would not be able to play for dead, because to play for dead, you have to just relax and let other people drag you around. And if somebody is hurt, you have grimaces on your face, you move your hands unnaturally. There's no way you can play dead if you're hurt. So somebody were to look at the setup, they said, no, there's no way. We're talking just a rehearsal part, not the actual play part. Nobody would ever rehearse it because it's absolutely unneeded. All they had to do, you had case that could be positioned in 4 different ways. Number 1, you can have this casters the other way towards the leg, which would be less risky, but still risky because you could hit a knee there. But you can also turn this case upside down with the casters pointing towards the ground. So even in a rehearsal state, never mind to the actual play state, nobody in the right mind would ever rehearse it like this, because they would have to rehearse it 100 times to make it right. And nobody, I don't know how many listeners would agree with me that nobody in the right mind would be rehearsing falling right between the casters while the chair was slippery. I do not know how to make this any more clear. They would simply turn the, well, another thing I kind of mention, I'm going to mention just a minute, but I kind of skipped that. So they will have, at the very least, they will turn the case over with the casters towards the ground so you have a flat surface. And one other thing I've just missed, that he's falling on the case, which is pretty narrow. And why would you make a setup where the case is so narrow? Let me show you one other image, which will give you an idea what I'm referring to. Charlie never had an appearance before where he was sitting on elevated surface. There's an appearance, and I can show you another image. Let me show you another one here. He was always sitting on the ground level.
Hold on.
Well, that you just showed one where he was on an elevated surface.
He was on an elevated surface right there.
Was this elevated surface?
Yeah, that's an elevated surface.
Okay, I didn't look at it very close. Okay, how about this one? Is this elevated surface too? No, this is not. Okay, so well, my bad.
Hard to tell, but
That's my
probably
bad.
not.
But basically, there's no gain from being at elevated surface other than maybe just to make it look better. Like if you go to any kind of stadium, all teams are playing on the ground level, and you have bleachers that are going up and up and up and up, and that's a pretty normal setting. Everyone is looking down. You don't have any obstruction of view. So I can see that particular campus was set up. You had multiple levels, and aesthetically, it may be looking better. It was done exclusively for aesthetics. It just had no purpose of elevating him. His view was not obstructed by anybody. And when the audience was out by like 100 feet, an additional 3 feet down in elevation would not have made any difference whatsoever, especially when the whole purpose of the show is to get a fake assassination. Who would care for the aesthetics? Nobody would care for the aesthetic. They would just have the safest possible setup for the purpose of protecting him, number one, not getting him hurt, and second, for making sure that the play goes without any hiccups. So the safest way would be to have him on the surface, and instead of a case here, he is landing in a case, which would, on the other image is sitting right about here, which is maybe only 16, 18 inches wide, and it's very easy to miss the case. So why would you be setting up anything excessively risky, especially when you do not have a chance to replay it if something has not worked out correctly? You'll be setting up the safest way. So even in the rehearsal stage, you would say, hey, why do guys need to be, I have to be falling from such a great height where I can actually miss the case and the chair is slipping and I can hit my shoulder or my neck or my head. This would have been cut. This would be dead on arrival at the first rehearsal. Never mind 100 times rehearsal, and the same risk as of all setups, and half of them would be missed, and he'd probably hit the edge of that case. Half the times he would not land on the middle of it. He'd land on the edge, which can hurt the rib. You can hurt you can hurt your what you call it, a knee, elbow. You can hurt all kinds of stuff if you land on the edge of the case. The safest way would be to put him on the ground with the grass next to it, because this way you have a much lower fall. You don't have that far down to go, and you have a soft grass. You have a wider surface. You cannot miss it. And grass is usually pretty soft, especially when it's watered all the time. The ground is soft. You have grass cushion. You have zero risk of falling pretty much. So they would have to set up something risky, and I'm talking about multiple counts: chair slipping, elevated position unnecessary, relaxed position of falling, hard surface to be falling on, and to be landing between these casters. Now, I don't, and actually I'll add one other item here. I'll play the dent flood. I have to open another video to show you what's dent flood doing.
Have you tried reaching out to anyone with Turning Point to ask those questions?
No,
as you're pulling up, your next.
No, I don't have any contact, but I'm sure I'd be stonewalled.
I mean, you never know. That's what I at this point, I'm telling everyone that you have nothing to lose at this point. On X, there's so many of them out there, on LinkedIn, whatever. Look, we're almost 8 months into this, or 7.5 months in. You got nothing to lose.
Well, if anyone gives me some contact, I would surely make an attempt.
You're
But
a good investigator. You're a good investigator.
okay, I'll look.
We are
into it.
here to promote independence and the opposite of defeatism. We want to empower people.
Okay, well, thanks for adding more homework for me, but I'll try to do that. But this is just one episode. You can see, I mean, this is far from everything. But one other thing I did not pull up into this folder. This is a folder specifically. Hold on a second, guys. I'll have to pull up one. Hold on a second. I have to pull one other video here because this fits into the same. This is a dead flood. This is just a little bit longer episode, and I'm actually.
Yet it stays completely disengaged.
I'm going to remove the audio here because it's not necessary. But here it's a little bit longer episode, and I pause it here to show that. So basically, I made 5 points. Let me recap it one more time. First of all, he's in unnecessarily elevated position, which simply served no purpose, did not need to be, and only increased the risk. Number 2, the chair is clearly slipping. Number 3, he's falling on a narrow edge, which again was absolutely unnecessary. Number 4, he's falling in a relaxed position completely. Number 5, you have a considerable hazard, both for the shoulder and for the head, and if any contact with that by a shoulder or via a head would pretty much cancel the whole hoax play, because he would be extremely uncomfortable, even maybe making or not making sound, but he'd be uncomfortable enough that he could not play a relaxed dead position. He would just be doing some weird movement and uncomfortable, trying to grab his shoulder, whatever, or maybe making some noises. So this is pretty much an absolute unacceptable hazard. So that's 5. And 6 is then flood. If you ever watch the circus play, you watch the videos where, not the videos, but the plays where you have like a pyramid of guys, and on top there's a lady, and they do some tricks on top of the pyramid, and the lady eventually jumps off and lands into the hands of another guy who's catching her, or something like this. You know, kids do this trick sometimes. So any lady or anybody who jumps off the top of the pyramid, they have full confidence of the person on the bottom catching her properly. You have like symbiotic relationship. The one has to execute their fall properly, like in a horizontal position, but the other person has to catch them properly, or they'll be served a definite injury. For here, I pause this frame. I can play it again a few times. Maybe some guys have seen it, but then Flood is pushing him here with one hand. His left hand remains completely disengaged. You cannot really see his left hand because it's kind of here, but you can see Charlie. This is Charlie's hand. Any kind of natural symbiotic play would involve Dan Flood at the very least supporting him. This would be kind of not very safe to do it. You'd have to probably just grab someone by the armpit and pull him off. That's like the most natural, safe way to do it, to pull him off backwards with both arms under somebody else's person's armpit. But even if you do this risky play, which is a risky, and again, not just risky, but unnecessary risky, you would at least try to support them a little bit, have his left arm here somewhere under the shoulder. I mean, you can't really have it under the shoulder because it will slip. You need to have it like under the elbow here, or under the armpit, or somewhere here. You can see that Dan Flood just pushes him with one hand, and his left hand remains completely disengaged until the very end of the fall. So you have a complete failure if this was an active play. So you have 5 items that I just mentioned on the Charlie, and the 6th item, the way Dan Flood is acting. He's really acting either Charlie's dead or he just didn't care. If he gets hurt, if he gets slammed, and I'll show you one more image in just a second, which may give a clue to what happened here during this fall. But I'll just play this one more time. This is a pause frame, so guys, forgive me. And I think this is like 5. This is another pause frame. I have inserted some text there, some verbal text. But you can see that Dan Flood's arm is nowhere here. This is Charlie's shoulder. That's his elbow, that's his shoulder. You can see that Dan Flood's right arm is here, but left arm is nowhere near. Let me rewind this. So until the very end of the fall, you can see the Dan Flood's left arm is nowhere to be seen. You see, that's right before the end of the fall. Dense flood arm is not here. And this is just a no-no. Again, this is just from a rehearsal standpoint of view. Never mind an actual acting day of play. This would never be rehearsed like that. If this was rehearsed 100 times, I had a private conversation with Jordan a few times, and I said, if you try to rehearse this, first of all, I advise you not to do that because you'll get hurt, but he's very stubborn. I said, you'll get hurt or you'll kill yourself before you even finish with your rehearsals because you have so many hurdles of risk of no support. You're not landing on your arms. Most of the people, if they fall, they put their arms forward to soften their impact. He is not doing it. He's just falling. That's like a body slam on the side to navigate these casters over here of the slipping surface. I said, you will never survive just your rehearsal. But even if you do it on test for like $1 million, like I said, this would never be rehearsed like this because they would try to rehearse the safest possible way and to make sure they don't fail, because any kind of failure will result in absolute catastrophe for their fake play. So I've given you 6 of guys writing it down. I've given you 6 points here. Each one of this, in my mind, is just inconceivable. I don't like to give like probabilities and chances, but I would say any points that I mentioned, probability of that just happening by chance, like a chair slipping, okay, no problem. Let's just keep rehearsing. Slipping after slipping, and they do 10 rehearsal, 20, okay, it's no problem. Instead of, hey, something's not right here, let's change the chair. Or then flood would be not supporting Charlie. Every time this is rehearsed again and again, no problem, they'll let Charlie just fall down and do a body slam, who cares? Or, to navigate his head and the shoulders between the casters. I do not know how to count the probability of any one of these options, but I would say any one of what I just mentioned is maybe just by some idiotic chance of maybe 1 in a million, any one of those. But if you listeners do not know how you count the overall probability, Jordan, you probably know, mathematics a little bit. But for your listeners who maybe don't know, you do it like this. If you have, let's say, an event that has a low chance of probability, let's say 1 out of 10. It's possible. But you have another event which is also has a 1 in 10 probability. What's the probability of both of those events happening at the same time? If your listeners don't know, you multiply. You do not add those numbers. You multiply them. So you have one event that's 1 in a 10 chance, and another one is 1 in a 10. You multiply 1/10 times 1/10. So of those 2 events happening at the same time, the probability is 1 in 100. If you have 3 events of each one having 1/10 probability, you have to keep multiplying. So the chances of 3 events happening at the same time, which are not likely at the same time, is 1 in 1,000. Now, if in this case, again, I do not know how to rate this. I just don't know. To me, it's inconceivable. But let's say possibility of anything that I just mentioned that had no purpose. If this setup had a purpose, I could say, well, maybe they had to do it for some specific reason. But this was just purposeless negligence and stupidity that never passed the rehearsal stage. So to me, probability of any one of these items is maybe 1 in a million. And maybe I'm being very generous here. So to count the probability of all the 6 being at the same time, and I gave you 6, I hope I don't have to repeat it again. So if each one is 1 in a million, 6 of those together would be 1 followed by 24 zeros, right? No, excuse me, 6 times 6. That would be 36 zeros. So I do not know if that number would be called 1 in a zillion, 1 in sextillion, and gazillion, or whatever. But the chances of all of this happening in the same play, all at the same time, which with each one may be astronomically impossible. This would be a number 1 chance in, like I said, it would be a number followed by 36 zeros. This is simply, this is not even laughable from my perspective. Maybe somebody can say this looks normal to them, but I looked at this for like 6-7 months, and I just know this is not repeatable on play. Nobody could repeat it, especially if you have a chance of examining it in slow motion like we do. In a fast motion and the normal speed maybe can make it look close. Even then, nobody would try to do anything so risky. But when we have an advantage of examining it at a slow play like this, I can tell you, no matter how many times anybody rehearses it, till the end of the age, they would not be able to repeat any of this. If that chair slips, they'd be falling in a different position every single time, and they would end up hurt long before the rehearsal is complete. I can guarantee you. So please advise no one to really try it. If they want to fall off the lower position on the grass with a white surface with no casters, maybe they can do close. They will still not be able to repeat it, but close maybe. But in this situation, please, guys, if you want to try something just halfway similar, just for fun to test it, go ahead. But don't try to repeat this. You'll end up hurt or dead. Anyway, so I don't know if that makes the case, but let me follow up with one more frame here. Hold on a second. Let me switch back. What possibly could have happened here. This is the next frame, and let me bring this up before I even zoom in. There are like 3 frames here I want to show you here. I'm allowed to show you this, right? This is okay here, Jordan?
Yes, that one I think is fine.
Hello?
Yes, it's fine. Yes.
That's fine.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Jordan,
Yes.
can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Can you recycle? You may have
No,
to.
I don't know what's happening. I've been talking,
Okay.
talking, but
You're good.
I can
Okay,
see
you
your
may-
gesture, but I cannot
Can
hear
you
you.
can you rejoin? You may have to rejoin.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see your gestures, but I cannot hear you. I guess you decided to.
Then maybe we just kick
okay.
him out.
So I can keep talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For
So it just kind of
for
a little funny.
3
that-
minutes.
Okay. So this is the image I wanted to show you. Hold on a second. This is when Charlie gets carried out. It's very hard to see, and I really did my best try to show his head position. This is his temple right here. You can see by the way his hair is positioned. You can see his hair is going out in different directions. So this is his temple, but he's not looking forward here because this is his forehead. You can see by the shape, his head is sideways. This way is always a little bit longer. If he was looking forward in this direction, the head would be much shorter. So he's not looking forward. He's looking, this is the back of his head, and this is his forehead. And you can actually see just a little sliver where this is the front of his hair,
Hold on.
and this is his forehead. So his head is positioned
We need
extremely right to left. Now, we cannot see his left shoulder here. This is his right shoulder. And the left shoulder is not visible, but when I discuss this with others, they can say, well, we don't know where his shoulder is. Well, yes, you can't tell where his shoulder is because the guy who is carrying him, obviously, Charlie's shoulder cannot be any further back than his carrier on the front. So his left shoulder would be like right about here or more forward, but cannot be any further back than the guy who's carrying him. So if you draw a line between this shoulder, the left and the right shoulder, you'd see his head is pretty much parallel to his shoulders. Now, I don't know, maybe some of you guys are more flexible than me, but I've tried. I cannot place my head in that kind of position. Or at the very least, maybe he was more flexible. I don't want to speak to every person. I'm pretty flexible, but I cannot get my head into that position of about 80, at least 80 to 90 degree to his front forward position. He's basically having his head almost parallel from one shoulder to another. If any one of you guys can do it, maybe, I'll have to accept that. I don't want to argue that, but this is definitely not a normal relaxed position, because if he was playing for dead, he would just have the normal relaxed position. He would not be stressing himself. Even if he could manage this kind of position, he would not be. It would be definitely a stress position. He would have to force it. And why would you want to be forcing any kind of position of your body or the head if this is not a normal relaxed position? When you like that, the head would be just flopping, kind of slapping forward and flopping around. He would not be forcing it into a very uncomfortable position. So to me, this kind of signifies that his neck may be broken. I do not have a proof of that. But one thing is for absolute certain, it is at a very least uncomfortable, very uncomfortable position, and most likely not doable position. So this is another sign. Maybe I do not know if I want to put like probabilities on this particular image. Maybe it's not 1 in a million, but this image alone seems to be very unlikely, and it certainly does not correspond with him playing dead. And this may very well explain the video I just showed you where he lands. Let me get back to that video again. So where he lands on his side in a relaxed position, it's right here, and his head is bouncing around. And I think what could very well have happened here is he broke his neck. Now I do not have a proof of that, but to me, this image I just showed you kind of correlates and corresponds very well with this video where he bounces his head around like he should not be doing. So this is just one additional piece of evidence. It's not like a very critical piece, but I'm just adding all of it together. And let me show you one other image from McClintock also. This is an additional piece of evidence. Jordan, you may have to give me an input. Am I allowed to show this image? This is a little bit graphic here, but there's a lot of...
No, let's not show that one.
I still cannot
I don't
hear
know
you.
if you can hear me though.
I think we're gonna have to kick here. Let me write on a piece of paper.
Well, I can only see your gestures, but I cannot hear you.
Hold on.
Rejoin. Okay, rejoin. And how do I do to rejoin? Present? Well, you guys lost me, or what happened? How do I rejoin? Present?
I had to kick him from the studio, so he'll join back. He'll join back in.
If it doesn't work, he can call me and then I can walk him through getting back on.
Okay. Yep.
I think we're at time though, right?
I think it was 2 weeks ago we discussed that with him, but we probably didn't tell him this go round. Remind him this go round. Sometimes it happens, you guys, when you are kind of coming on and off the stage and loading multiple pieces of media. And I was trying to pull up actually one of the videos that I had seen before. I think that was his, that was showing that pretty dramatic neck fall. And I had found it. I saw someone had said that we'd checked out, but no, I was trying to find this piece of video and I did locate it. But my next question for him was going to be the sourcing of that. And here we go. Here he is. Always
Can you
something
hear us
that's
now?
important to me.
Hello? If you are speaking, we cannot hear you. Now he has a screen share back. If you're speaking right now, we cannot hear you. But
how
now
are we doing?
There we go.
Now I can hear
Yes.
you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? I guess not.
Let's see. Let me try adding that to the stage. Can you hear us?
Whose DMs are these?
Oh, I don't know. I'll
Why do we
remove
have
that.
to
I
do
think
that?
that was his DM with us to get the StreamYard thing, I guess.
We not show DMs.
Well, I didn't know that. I just saw that he had his screen up.
Oh, that's his screen. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And at the time it wasn't, it was just this is what it was when I clicked on it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to show his screen.
I don't know if you can hear me, because I cannot hear you.
Okay. Can you?
Okay. Can you call us?
He can't hear us. Can you write it on your? I'm gonna put it on my phone.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if I can make it big enough with this.
I got it. Oh.
Okay.
and we're going to try to figure out why his thing isn't working. Why his audio is not working. Worst comes to worst, we can just have him listen to the YouTube, I guess. But that's not ideal. I don't remember his number, though. I know a little bit of Morse code. Did it, dot, 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 did it. Maybe he'll call. But I put it in the private chat, so. What is he doing? Oh, I think my number is in there. Yeah, my number is in there. Perfect. He's getting my number from that.
Excellent. Well, yeah, if you guys have any questions for Jordan, if you have any questions for US did 9/11, please go ahead and add those to the chat so we can be accumulating them. In the meantime, I've been starring the questions that I've seen come through thus far.
Language.
I don't know. Trigger Smart said that I said a bad word. I don't think I did.
I didn't
Hey,
hear
can you
one.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, let's walk through it. You can't hear anything from the stream?
No, you
Okay.
showed me the signals I could see on the screen, but I could not hear your voice at all.
Okay,
I don't
what
wanna-
speakers are you using on your computer?
Sorry?
What speakers are you using for your computer? Your headphones, right?
Yes, well, I've had the same setup as before. I use these headphones to
Okay.
speak, and then your voice comes through my regular speakers.
Through your regular speakers. Okay, are you using Google Chrome as your browser?
No, I was using Edge, but I'm not even using the browser when I share my pictures and videos. I'm not using the browser, but I'm using
Okay.
Edge.
When you go into Edge, we use Chrome, so I know how to do it in Chrome, but do you have in the upper left-hand corner on StreamYard? I'm not going to show your screen, but I can kind of see your
What am I
screen.
supposed to do?
Go into the upper left-hand corner when you put StreamYard up. I wonder if I
When
can route
put the
this
stream on
into...
it, okay, upper left corner, StreamYard, okay.
No, go look at me. Can you see me?
Do I see you? I see you now.
Okay, upper left-hand... I'll go ahead. I'm going to share your screen just so I can see it.
And Jordan, I currently have his mic in StreamYard muted. Do you want it unmuted? I just didn't want to have the echo.
Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe because I'm
No, maybe I'm on the mute. Maybe that's I'm so unused to this.
Well-
I just unmuted. Maybe
Okay,
then
but
it's-
you can't hear us. Can you hear Kelly through...
Yeah, can you hear,
Kelly through the
can you hear me?
speakers?
Sorry, you guys. Sorry, I apologize for everyone.
Okay,
for the
well,
technical
that's not what I intended. We need to figure out the little live tag is right where I need to see. Can you move that tab to the right?
okay.
Oh, no,
Are
that's
you
not going
looking
to
at
work
my?
either.
Are you looking at my screen now, or
I'm looking at your screen right now.
okay? So what do you want me to move?
Do you see the blue at the upper left-hand corner? Is that a button that you can press? No, not that. Above it? All the way up on the, way up higher. Higher, higher, higher. Nope, to the right of that, the blue. The blue. Is that a button you can press? No, okay. How do we audio here? Speaker, oh, that's what we want to do. Okay, go into the settings icon at the bottom.
Mhm.
To the right. Click that. We get this header off.
Yep, I'm on it.
Audio. No, just go to audio.
On the left
'Cause you-
side,
Click audio, please. On the left, on the left side. Okay, and now speaker.
Oh, down.
Nope, speaker. Yep, and then click that. Do you know which one you normally use? Why don't you, let's just do this. Click that. Okay, click that, and then click the test button and see if that works. Yep. Do you hear anything? Do you hear anything? No? Okay, let's go to the next one then. Okay.
Oh, and
Let's go
can
to
he
the
make
next
sure that his volume is on? Can he make sure that the volume on his laptop or computer is on?
I think he is.
Okay.
Is the volume on your laptop on?
Make sure.
Okay, let's go to the next. Hold on.
This is what I think happened.
That he turned it.
Oh, God. You can see why I'm so dumb with that experience.
All right, I'm going to hang up now.
Yeah, I played that video with the Den flood, and I told
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to hang up now. Let's continue in the stream.
Okay.
Okay. Go back into this one. Actually, we're going to go back into this one and back into this one.
We got it
I
under
think we
control. I
did.
bet he had probably, did he mess with it when he was trying to play one of those videos? Maybe.
I have no idea, but you can hear us both now, right?
Yes, I can hear both of you now.
Perfect. Fantastic. Thank
So-
you so much to our audience for your patience. We really appreciate it. And thank you, US to 9/11, for troubleshooting that, sticking with us, working through that. Thank you, Jordan, for your patience. All right.
Okay, so should I just
All right,
continue?
I think we're at the end of your uninterrupted time, I think,
Okay.
Kelly.
Yep. All right. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do some cross exam. We ready
Yeah.
for that?
Kelly, I think
Jordan,
you had
go
some
ahead.
questions to start off with.
I did, yes. First, if I could ask you just about the sourcing of some of the video that you were showing us there. Super high def, really clear video and some angles that that I hadn't seen. So, how can you tell me about the sourcing of the video?
Sure. This is really nothing special. I just zoomed in a little bit. I'll show you the original right here, which you probably all have seen. I'm not sure. I have like two versions of this original, so I'm not sure which one I've taken this particular mic clip from, but I'll show you the original in just a minute.
But where did you get the video files from?
I'm sorry?
Where did you get
Where
the
did the
video
video
files from?
files come? Mhm.
Well, I downloaded it from the internet, but I'm pretty sure it was from. Let's see. I'm looking for. Sorry, I did not expect your question. I'm pretty sure it was this one here.
Let's not show that part. Let's get that off. We're not going to play that part. We're just
Okay.
asking you, where did the video files come from?
Okay, I'm sure it was this file right here. I don't remember if I took it from this particular version or I have another one without the split screen.
No. That's not what we're asking. What we're asking is, you woke up one day and you did not have the video file on your computer at all. And then you did something, and then the video file is on your computer. What did you do to get the video file on your computer?
Well, I downloaded it from it was either X Post or YouTube. I don't remember. I think it was from the crowdsourced funding, or maybe like I said, I have a few different copies. They all look identical. I just picked the one with the best resolution.
Okay, so you did you or did you not document where you got this footage from?
No, I did not. But any one of you can confirm that what I have exactly the same as what you have in your file. So I don't think I have anything unusual or something that cannot be corroborated by everybody else's file. So
Kelly?
you're welcome to check your own file. It's just slow it down. You'll see it's the same thing.
Well, I just have been asking a lot of questions lately about videos because I find it just like with sourcing information and understanding where, the source of information. I find that the source of videos and photos is becoming more and more important as time passes, as details become important. And so that's why I'm asking where videos come from, who was the person who took it, or how it ended up on the internet. And so that's why I'm asking.
Okay,
But
well, I can tell you
maybe
honestly that I do not really have any originals. Like Blake got some original, supposedly from UVU, crowdsource funding for truth, got them somewhere. I do not have any originals as from direct source. So I've just taken what's available on internet, and I've over the months I've collected multiple versions, and I usually work with the best resolution I found because a lot of them get reposted in the lower resolution, and I have them also, but I usually just work with the best resolution I have. But I don't have any original files from the source. I can confess that to you. I don't.
or know who was the one who actually shot the video to begin with, or if it was ever treated or altered or anything like that.
No, I do not. Again, if that was altered, just my general observation, because I pick in so many details, I would catch, because anything that's altered is very easily catchable. If something just doesn't sit right, something doesn't correspond right, I would have caught it. I cannot really give you a proof of that, but examining it for months, any kind of hoaxing I would have caught a long time ago. And so far, and in fact, I can show you a few videos where there is a
But
pair
wait,
of
hold on. I'm going to stop you there because you said on one hand you said you could get you said you would have caught it, but then you said but then you couldn't give me proof of that. So I just heard two different
not on
concepts
this
from
video.
you.
There are other videos. One from the left side where some kind of apparent object coming between his leg, almost like a bullet or some kind of object, like a little streak. I'm pretty sure that's a fake or hoax because I looked at it multiple times. It looks in the opposite direction, going downward. It's not this particular video, but there's another. There's another video where his chain supposedly flunks over his, let's see, left shoulder. That's from the left side, and it looks like a much longer wire. People debated whether it's a wire or a tube because it doesn't correspond to the length of the chain. And that length, I think someone took the original and somebody faked it. A lot of people debated the length of it, and it doesn't correspond because I think that's a fake. I kind of catch those fakes pretty easy, and I usually don't use them for my own presentation. I would never use them. But in this particular video,
what
I never.
methodology do you use in order to determine which are fake and which aren't?
As far as the technical confirmation, I really do not rely on that. I can only tell you.
You don't rely on what?
No, if you, in other words, if you're asking me if I look at the original data, like
I'm asking you what methodology do you use in order to determine which videos are fake and which ones are not?
methodology, just expert eye analysis. You always have
Okay.
this.
What qualifies you as an expert in analyzing video footage?
20 years of observation.
Define observation.
Well, like I said, I worked with observing different videos. This may be.
Well,
I mean,
does that doesn't qualify you as an expert to differentiate fake from authentic footage, though, does it?
No, if you want
So
to
what does
qualify me,
qualify you as an expert?
if you want to qualify me as an expert, I would say that no. Technically speaking, if I had to testify in court and I'd be cross-examined,
Okay.
I would not be able to qualify. I would not be qualified as an expert. No.
Okay, so then what methodology do you use if you can't just say that you're an expert?
Jordan, I'm not sure I can answer your question. It's
Okay.
just It's just correlation. Like I said, any kind of fakery, usually it's very easily detectable. Most of them are very sloppy and they're like detectable immediately. But even if they're not sloppy, if you look at them long enough from different angles, you always find some discrepancies. I cannot give you a
Okay.
specific example, but I can give you other examples if you give me time to prepare. And fakers are always easy. In fact, I make a lot of comments. A lot of normal videos are posted today and by some known people. And I make comments very often. Why you guys are posting this? Can't you see it's a fake? And I post evidence
Okay.
to the fakery all the time.
All right.
Not on
I
this
think that
subject.
question is answered.
Okay.
Kelly, do you have any more?
I would just wanted to note, I think one of our audience members kind of summed up because they were asking similar things, and so I just wanted to acknowledge that let's see. I'm Hockey Girl said this could be great footage, but not knowing where it came from is unfortunate. I love the specifics. This is a great show. So I think that is a very fair comment. Thank you so much for that.
Is there a question for me on that?
It was just a general comment. I wanted to wrap that that piece up with that comment. Go ahead, Jordan.
Okay. Did you have a video that you wanted to show, Kelly, or no?
I think that sums it up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will get into my questions then. All right. So I'm going to go back to some of your comments on the stunt and how realistic it seemed as far as being a stunt or not. What experience do you have, US 911, in coordinating and planning stunts in order to say that they should have added rubber feet to the chair?
Again, if you asking me for a specific experience, like working with the video setups, no, I do not have any. It's just such a common sense to me. If you try to do any kind of stunt, like I said, first of all, you concerned about the safety, number one, and when something is slipping, it's not safe. And number two, the most important, you worry about repeatability. If something slips, you can never repeat it the same way. So you could never repeat it even on a rehearsal.
How do you determine that if something slips, you can't repeat it the same way?
Because every time it slips a little bit different. Because you could never repeat the motion. You have one person in motion, in leaning back, leaning sideways. Another person steps off his riser, try to push him over. So your timing is a little bit off. You have a few seconds off, depending on the exact timing when one person gets pushed over. His position every time is a little bit different on the chair because he is moving. He's not sitting stationary. Another person steps off his chair. His timing can be off by a few tenths of a second or a second, whatever. It can never be repeated identical. So based on the combination of push and position, every time it will slip differently.
Excuse me. How did you determine that the amount it would slip differently is going to impact the safety of the operation?
Cannot be very specific, but when you're landing on the edge or surface, not edge, but the surface, which is barely wider than your body, which is like 16, 18 inches, any kind of slipping of the chair can land you in either direction, off the surface or on the edge of the surface. I mean, it's very hard to land. Like I said, I know how to fall.
That's not my question. That's not my question. My question is, how do we determine that the amount of variance between different slipping profiles, how do we determine that whether or not that variance is going to impact the safety of the procedure?
I really cannot answer this question specifically. It's just my general observation.
So what I would propose is that, yes, there will be a little bit of variance. It's going to slip slightly different each time, but that's not going to make it less safe.
You don't think so? Okay, well, I'll have to accept your opinion on that. I just know from my personal standpoint, if I were to come on a set and I was a professional, not some kind of speech giver like Charlie Kirk, but a professional stuntman, if I were to see something like this, I'd say, no, this has to be corrected. I would not volunteer, and I know how to fall. I would not volunteer for this kind of setup myself.
Okay.
And I'm kind of a professional faller.
You just said that you have no relevant experience, I believe, and correct me if I'm misquoting you, but it seemed like you said you have no relevant experience. So I don't know how you can say so confidently that this small little detail debunks the idea that this was a stunt.
It's not any one thing; it's all of them combined. But like I said,
Okay,
if
let's
I
look
were
at the
to
other
see this
stuff.
setup, I would refuse to participate. I would have to say outright, as soon as I would look at it, I say this is not safe. This thing has to be redone.
Okay, that's fine.
I would just speak for myself. And again, I know how to fall, so
Okay,
I'm not
well,
like somebody who doesn't know how to fall.
all right, I know how to fall too, and I'm going to show you my video of me falling. If we can get rid of the thing here. This is my video of me falling. I'm going to show it to everyone here.
Okay, hold on.
And
Let
go.
me see. Okay. Yes, you showed me. You showed me this.
Yeah.
Yes, your hands go down first. You're not falling onto your shoulder. You have
Yeah,
your
there's
hand.
one little mistake there.
Well, the hands always soften the impact, and you're falling on a wide surface too.
I mean, I'd say, you know, like falling on your shoulder, even if you know, broke a collarbone or broke your elbow or something, isn't nearly as bad as losing your life, right?
Yeah. And
I mean,
right
that's
there,
a
I
small
am
price
making a
to pay.
mistake. I am making a
I'm not.
mistake right here.
I'm not
I
sure.
am sort of breaking my fall with my elbow, so that is a mistake. But this was the third practice run.
Well, you can see your hands go down first. It's soft on the impact, of course. Then
Yeah,
that's
I just
expected.
said that. It's a practice run.
Yeah,
This
so
was the third
I
time
can
I
do that.
tried it.
Well, that's how we play when we play volleyball. We dive for the ball on a surface very similar, and I can fly through the air for 5 feet, and land on my hands first and then my chest. So that is doable. But to do it in a
Yeah.
relaxed position on a sideways, without your hands landing first, I would not volunteer for that. I would not do it. And I've fallen much worse than that on my chest with my hands.
Okay, how did you determine that Charlie wouldn't?
Jordan, common sense. I don't know. Cannot make a proof.
So
This is my common
you-
sense of observation.
You shared your opinion on whether or not you would accept this mission, but how did you determine that Charlie wouldn't accept this mission?
Again, if he was not very knowledgeable on how to fall, he could have accepted it originally. But this
Okay,
was,
let me ask you this then. Have you ever received formal training from a licensed professional on how to fall for a stunt?
no. I just have 20
Okay.
years of experience of falling. That's all.
How many times have you fallen? Are you okay?
Well, like I said, not fallen in this position of this pattern, but playing volleyball, I have fallen 1,000 times.
Okay. Have you
Thousands
done
of
it
times.
for the purpose of performance, though, for the purpose of an audience?
No, never have. No, and actually, I have fallen off the bar
Okay.
when I was a gymnast too. Of the bar.
So wouldn't you agree then that falling in the context of volleyball is very different from performance falling, where your intent is to make it seem real?
Yes, but yes, intent would make a difference, but the safety issue still remains the same.
Okay, but you're not qualified to talk about the safety issue.
Well, if you want to disqualify me, that's okay. I mean, I accept your disqualification, sir.
All right. Do we have video footage of This isn't a combative question. This is a sincere and honest information gathering question. The other questions were sincere and honest too, but this is an information gathering question for Kelly as well. Do we know if Charlie ever looked down specifically at that crate, sort of as, hey, I wonder, I'm going to fall down there. I'm going to take a quick glance down there and see where I'm going to fall. Do we have that footage? Do we know if he does that?
You asking me or Kelly?
I'm asking both of you.
I've never seen him look at it, but of course, if he did, that would have been predetermined on many rehearsals in advance. I don't think why he would be looking at it at the time of the event. That would not make any difference. Even if he looked or not, that would not designate
Sure,
anything.
Kelly?
I'm happy to pull it up off to the side and glance at it while you guys are talking. But off the top of my head, I can't think that that's caught my eye. I mean, certainly we all know the bracing, or well, what I believe is closing his eyes and bracing right before. But he's sitting there and kind of looking around for a few moments. What do you think?
Or you mean if he looked at when he was already sitting at the table or before the event? Jordan, you implying if he looked at it when he was sitting on the table already, or
When he was sitting down at the table, yeah. Just to
Oh,
take mental note. I don't know if he does that or not. I was just asking.
I'll have to look over. I never noticed it myself, but I'll have to look over the 10, 11 minutes that we have, but I never noticed it.
All right, let's move on to the next question then, and we can revisit that later. How much time does Charlie have to practice at Fort Huachuca? How many practice falls can he do?
At Fort Huachuca,
Yeah.
you asking me how many times you had to practice?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I cannot answer that question. I can tell you that in order to achieve it so smoothly, so seamlessly, not being able to pick up even a speck on a normal play, I can tell you this is not repeatable, no matter how many times you practice.
But you're not qualified to comment on that, are you?
Well, you're asking me a question. I'm giving you the answer. If somebody can prove me wrong and give me a demonstration, go ahead.
Okay.
But-
Well,
So I did give you a
I'm
demonstration.
giving you my opinion.
But my question was, and then I'll let Kelly go. My question was, how many times does Charlie have to practice at Fort Huachuca?
Well, Kelly, you can take up that question. I do not know how to answer that.
Okay. Kelly?
I was just thinking that the point that U.S. did 9/11 I believe just made was that no matter how many times you practice, it may not look the same, or it would not look the same. I believe that that's what I heard you say.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
There will be some
which
differences if you practice 1,000 times. It will still not be repeatable the same way. You could
I
not
see.
repeat.
I see. Which would kind of, play into your theory, Jordan, that, what you're doing may not look exactly precisely the same as what we see with Charlie, but it could come pretty close.
It's
Good.
what is the opposite of senseless? It is a senseful, it is a common sense question to ask because it speaks to Charlie's ability to convince us that it's a real fall. That's why it's a logical question. All right. So what I'm getting at with that question is, like I just said, how do we know he didn't do 100 practice runs? How do we know he didn't do 1,000 practice runs? We don't know. He might have.
Well,
Right.
that's true. We don't know. It's a combination of factors. If somebody would
Thank you.
practice, they would practice a simplest setup that could be less risky and more repeatable. Nobody would be picking the riskiest possible setup and the least repeatable when there's just absolutely no reason for it. There's no
Okay.
advantage of doing this risky setup on multiple levels and multiple points.
What makes it so
There's no-
risky?
Huh?
What makes it so risky?
Well, I said risky because it's a much higher. He is sitting much higher than he could have been if he was sitting on the ground. That's number one. That's about another 3 foot of height or 2 feet of height. That's increased
Let me
height.
ask you this. Maybe the reason he's so elevated is so that they can hide him from the super. Let me just ask this without trying to read it from my notes. Maybe the reason he's elevated is so that he can be so far behind and down behind the table that when they rip all the squib stuff off him, the crowd doesn't have line of sight to him. They're trying to box him in from view.
If you look at this image right here, let's see, where was it? If you look at this image right here, if you fall if he is on a surface level, and this is, let's say, maybe 3 feet or 32 inches, something like this. If you fall on the ground from this level, I think this table would block you just about as much as his table was blocking him on the setup when he was in that equipment
What?
case.
All right, let's hold right on this image, please. Let's hold right there.
Mhm.
Let's look at the crowd. What's the key difference between this crowd and the crowd at UVU?
I cannot tell the difference about for the crowd itself. The elevation, this is flat. Elevation at the UVU had like cascade upward.
Yeah.
So yes, that was different.
Yeah. Is that relevant to this question?
No, not really, because like I mentioned that kind of briefly, because when you go and look at a football match, everything is down on the bottom, and all the stands goes up, and bleachers go up and up and up. It does not obstruct anyone's view. So I think it was done for aesthetics, but it would not have made any difference on how other people can view them. From when you have a field of view that's
hold on. Well, you're saying yes, that is correct. But that doesn't necessarily apply to the stage. The whole purpose, you have a raked stage or a raked audience or a pitched, there's a special word, I think it's called raked, but a pitched house is so that the people in the front of the audience can not block the people in the back of the audience. And that's what they have at UVU, but that doesn't necessarily apply to the stage. That gives you elevation over the stage.
No, I can see the setup for the viewers. The setup for the viewers was different, but that would have no bearing to how he was sitting. If he had a little better view from others, if this was done for aesthetics, I can understand. I think it was done. But if they were trying to hoax assassination, who would care for aesthetics if he was sitting there for 10 minutes? So
because they have to yank all this gear off of him, and they don't want the audience to see that.
Well, like I said, I think the angle, when you have the 100 feet depth of view, more than 100, maybe 150 feet, the depth of view, another 3 feet elevation, I cannot see would make any difference. In fact, I'll show you.
A lot more than 3 feet of elevation.
Let me show you this image right here. Let's see, where is it?
My point here is there's other explanations for why they have him elevated. It might be because they need to hide stuff behind the table and the elevation helps, or it could be something else, but I think there's other explanations for why they need the elevation.
Okay, in fact, I wanted to show you this image, and now, there it is. So as far as your elevation, there's a good image for you.
Yeah.
I mean, he is hidden here, but this is hardly a setup to be hiding much, because you can see their faces and their heads. If there was any
hiding everything, isn't it? Isn't it hiding everything?
Yes, Charlie is hidden here.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's not more than 3 foot down below. In other words, if you were to lower everything, if you had this table a little bit lower, and he would be lower on the ground. He is like 1.5 feet.
You'd probably be able to see Charlie, wouldn't you?
I'm sorry again?
If that table were lowered, you would probably be able to see Charlie, right?
Not if he was on the ground level. He is elevated. He is on top of that case, which is, let's say, 16, 18 inches in height. And you cannot see them here. But if you were to have him on the ground, if that case was not there, if you were to fall flat on the ground on the grass, and this table was like respectively 16 inches lower, and Charlie was 16 inches lower on the ground, it'd be the same thing. I mean, the blockage should be exactly the same.
Now, with respect to the top row.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Now, with respect to the top row. We would really have to do this in Blender to find out for sure.
Okay, yes, okay. I cannot be specifics, but the table could be adjusted, 2 inches higher, 4 inches higher, but you can accommodate that difference in height by having him another 16, 18 inches lower on the surface of the ground.
Yeah, I would have to rebuild this, or not rebuild it, but reconstruct different angles and different sight lines in Blender to know for sure. But my proposition is that there are, the sight line might not be the answer, and you might be right. My argument here might be weak.
You go ahead. I did not think.
What I'm saying, excuse me,
yes.
What I'm saying is that there's probably an alternative explanation for why they need the additional height. I don't know what it is, but I don't think that we can rule out the whole fake death theory just because they opted for that elevation.
Actually, I can tell you. I can tell you why they needed
Now
additional
I'm
height.
finished. Now you may speak.
Sorry, I have a pretty good idea. You know, this is not the center point of our discussion today, but I have a pretty good idea why he had to be elevated. And I can show you.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. Sure.
Well, I did not put that image into this folder, so hold on a second. I'll show you if I can find this image. Because Dan Flood was not standing on the ground. Dan Flood was standing. Where is it? Oh, okay. Here they go. Here you go. Because Dan Flood was standing on top of this case. In other words, he had to be relative to the same height of Charlie. He usually stands on the ground. Charlie would sit like on the ground. But because he would look too low if he was standing on the ground here. Charlie was sitting here on the table, plus a chair. And Dan Flood was standing on this case.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure he was standing in this case to separate himself from the ground. And you know why that is? Because Charlie was grounded and Dan Flood was not grounded. And you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about electric current here.
Charlie, where's your anode and your cathode?
I'm sorry?
Where's your anode and where's your positive and where's your negative?
Well, you don't need positive and negative. You need positive and the ground. You need the ground and the positive
and ground.
Yes, like Charlie was sitting on top of the chair. Let me see if I can find that image for you. Hold on a second. I was not prepared for this discussion. Sorry about that. Let's see. Where is this image? Oh, okay. There it is. Okay, there you go. Charlie's sitting on a chair with a metal frame. You have that chair. It's a metal frame, so his back is right against the frame. It has all metal legs with no rubber stop. I think that was quite deliberate why it had no rubber stop, because the chair is sitting on top of a metal surface table with nothing separating it. The metal surface table has metal legs which go directly into the ground. So he was grounded.
What is the ohm value reading for that surface?
I cannot tell that. I just tell you my observation that he was grounded through metal,
Okay,
metal, and metal.
What
me, that
material is that platform made of?
I did not examine it.
So how do we know what the resistance is?
I cannot answer you that question, but this is, I think,
Okay, so how do we know that he's grounded?
Well, you're doing very good interrogation. I do not know how to answer your question, Jordan. I just don't know. To me, this is a very unusual setup with no rubber separating anywhere between him and the ground. And then Flood was.
Okay, let me ask it this way. How do you know that top of that surface is not rubber?
Top of what surface? This surface?
That stage platform. I can pull it up here, I think.
This gray section here, which surface are you talking about?
The surface that the chair is resting on. How do we know that's not rubber?
I have to pull up another image. It looks metallic to me, and I don't. It's like I was
You're
not
able
prepared.
to zoom. I think you're able to zoom in actually in your photo.
Well, it's kind of a little blurry. And
Oh, okay. I see. I see. Yeah.
It's not going to work. I'm
Okay,
not sure if I
see.
can find a much better image. This doesn't look, if it's a rubber, it had to be a whole piece of rubber, because this looks like one single piece. There's not like layered pieces. So if it was rubber, it had to be the full thing rubber. It was not rubber.
Yeah, I do know one anomaly in this instance was that Charlie normally had a back pillow, kind of a large lumbar pillow that he would usually have in other college events, and he did not have that in this case. He was sitting on a pillow, but he did not have the back pillow. I don't know what significance that may or may not have, but does that mean anything to you? US did 9/11?
No, I'm not sure. I have not thought about it. The only thing I can tell you about this image, and Ali Files have noted this, that was her find, that his feet, the only time of all of his presentations or appearances, that's the only time you can see his feet on top of two water bottles. Now, who puts their feet on top of the water bottle? You ever hear about that? Regardless of the situation, you ever hear somebody having their feet on top of the water bottles? So that was like, I do not know how did that come about, but that's kind of a little eye-catching detail, you know, to have the feet on top, resting on top of the water bottles. So maybe you
All right,
can answer that.
what I'm asking you to do. Kelly, can you make me full screen, please?
Sure thing.
Thank you. This is a multimeter here. This is how we test electrical resistance. I set it to measure ohms. Or where's ohms? Right there. Set the ohms. Right now it's an open line, so it says OL. But when I go touch the leads, we have 0 ohms. Now this is the exact same type of chair that Charlie had. Now I'm going to touch the leads to the chair. This tells us whether or not it is a conductor of electricity. It is not a conductor of electricity. There's no continuity between.
Oh, the chair was. I'm sure the chair was.
Right.
It's a frame.
Now we're going to test the back of the chair, like so, and we still have 0 ohms, or infinity ohms. I mean, it's an open line. Now the metal on the chair, that does have continuity. That tests at, should be about 0 ohms. Like 27 ohms-ish for the metal on the chair, but not for the surface of the chair. So that's the test I'm asking you to do on the stage platform that I have pulled up right here. This is the same style platform. It is the IntelliSense lightweight folding portable stage unit right there. And this video shows you the what that surface is. It looks like a carpeted surface. I would not expect a carpeted surface to be conductive.
No, carpeted.
So that's the type of testing I'm asking you to do.
Well, I'm not good in this kind of electric testing, but I'll have to get a hold of exactly the same table. And how do we know what kind of table was really used? There are all kinds of tables. Some could be carpeted, some could be not. How do we know?
It's identical to the one that he had.
So you say the image of this table here is carpeted surfaces. Is that what you're saying? This is carpeted surface table?
I'm saying the table that Charlie had is identical to this exact same stage platform folding system, the IntelliSense or IntelliStage lightweight portable folding stage system. That's what he had.
And you say they do not have any other options other than the carpeted surface. I don't know how that chair would be so slipping in the carpeted surface. Just from that slippage, it looked.
I think it would slip pretty well.
Huh?
I think it would slip pretty well. I do not believe that they have other. Let's see here.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think we need a megger. I mean, I can try a megger, but I don't think we need a megger.
If he was sitting in the carpet,
you're going to use that in electrocution, and you want it to be it has to be a megger to get ohmage, to get continuity. Like, you're going to burn up the whole chair if you want to use electrocution on that. I don't need a megger for that.
Well, if he was on a carpeted surface, that would cancel any possibility for sure. There's no need to measure anything.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, but we're going to go back to this. Maybe I can zoom in. They all look the same to me. It all has the same gray surface on the top. Maybe this one's a little bit different. Maybe this one has a slightly different, maybe it was that one. So, okay. Can we find out what this surface is though?
Well, this would require
sure he has a carpet with rugged carpet or industrial finish. So we would need to know what that industrial finish is, but I certainly don't. But the color seems more consistent with the carpet, and I'm not aware of any carpets that are conductive.
No, a carpet would not be conductive for sure.
Yeah. And then I had some other questions, I think. But let's go back to electrocution, because I've been trying to get someone up here to talk about electrocution for a while, but I don't have any takers. So where do you think the positive lead is? Do you think it's through the chair, or do you think it's through something else?
It's a microphone. Well, let me pull up this video that maybe this will demonstrate it a little bit. Let me see if I can. We kind of got off track, so
No, I think we're perfectly on track.
Well, you got me off track because I had everything numbered here, and I only got up to here. This is what I covered, and I still have like 2 rows of images here to cover. I never got to that far. Let's see.
Because you keep trying to debunk me.
Well, I need
spend all your time on that.
Where is this video? No, I cannot find it. Oh, okay, let me sure I understand your question. Can you repeat your question one more time? I think I know where it is. You want to go
Where's
over
your positive and where's your negative?
Okay. See, I put this in a separate folder. No, it's not here. God.
Bro, I can't afford it. I know I need one, but I can't afford it. I have like the cheap $20 version, but I need one. Yeah.
No, I cannot find. Maybe I did not put that video in this folder. Maybe. No, I don't see that video in this folder. Oh, okay, I found it.
That's not even like my work one is not the one that I have here. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. And Tammy. Okay, so my question is, like, you're saying that it is the microphone that is your anode or your positive. If that were the positive,
Okay,
if you were electrocuted by the microphone, shouldn't he, like, how long is the charge? How long does the charge last?
Okay, well let's play this for just a second, because aside of that burned hand, this is very important.
No. Sorry, we don't want to get banned here.
No, I have a blur. Jordan, I have a blur in this. I added the blur.
Can you show me it in the preview? Just go ahead and play it now.
Or like zoom all the way into the hand or whatever he's going to do.
I'm adding the blur after this image.
Can you go ahead and play it? I can still see it.
Well, there you have it. I added the blur right there. Is that okay?
Can you keep playing, please?
You want me to keep playing it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm adding the blur. I've done it just for this show specifically. I didn't have this before.
If we get banned, we get banned.
This will ban you?
Maybe. You're not banned, but we'll get a strike.
We'll see. We live on the edge sometimes. And yes, Shauna, I'll put it back up.
How long does the charge last?
How long does the charge? Probably a second.
Okay, how many frames was that?
I did not count the frames, but it's probably about 40, 45 frames, something like that.
Why don't we count the frames?
See, this is the only part I missed a little bit because the image was moving so fast I couldn't keep up with it. Okay, you asked me how many frames are in this video?
Yeah, let's count the frames before he lets go of the microphone.
Okay, well, if anything starts when it's probably at this moment. So 1, 2, 3.
Nope. If he's getting electrocuted by the microphone, you only get 1 frame. Because his whole arm is moving. He wouldn't be able to move his whole arm if he were being electrocuted. So you don't even get 1 frame.
Well, he is clenching his arm.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to.
Oh God! I mean, I was not prepared for this debate, but I think you're incorrect. Let me show you.
Because that's how when you get electrocuted, it disrupts all the nerve ending, the nerves. You're not able to move your arm anymore. So if you were being electrocuted, you would expect to see the whole arm be still.
Oh, Jordan, you asking me questions? I mean, now I'm trying to find. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder here. Oh God.
So the answer
All right,
here
I'll say
It was just, sorry, guy. I was just so unprepared. You asking me questions, and I have everything in so many different folders here.
one of Jordan's biggest critics, I have to call attention to this. One of Jordan's biggest critics actually said that Jordan is correct. So I had to call attention to that.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. What do you see here?
let's not show that.
Huh?
Why don't
This
you
is a
play
mu-
that for me in the preview?
This is a musician that got electrocuted on stage. Now the voltage was lower here, so he actually survived. But you can see him grabbing a microphone, and he's moving his hand.
Was he moving his hand though?
Yes, he's moving his hand, and he's holding the microphone at the same time.
Can you go back?
I mean, I don't have this in slow motion. Don't have it ready. This.
You see how he doesn't move his hand away from the microphone?
Well, it's kind of hard to see here, but
So if you were to put your hand on a stovetop that was hot, you would immediately move your hand away from it, right? Right.
Well, I cannot argue that. It's too hard to see what he's doing here.
Okay, so when he gets shocked by it, he keeps his hand in the same position despite getting shocked by it because it seizes your hand.
Okay, well, maybe you're correct about that.
Okay. Feel free to do some more research and let me know if I'm wrong. All right.
Okay, I'll have to do a personal test. I mean, that will be fun.
Well, be safe. Don't do anything dangerous.
No, I know. I'm saying there's no way to do a proper test on this. I mean, you'd need a couple thousand volts.
Well, you can find there's all kinds of research on it. You don't need. You can't let go if it's DC. You can with AC. Okay, maybe it was AC then. I don't think that's true though. I don't think that's true.
Are you reading the comments?
What's that?
You reading the comments?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll read that out. Mr. Turpin says you can't let go if it's DC current, but you can with AC. I don't think that's true. Yeah, I don't think that's true. I'll have to look that up later, though. Okay. I have one other question about the direction of Charlie Kirk's head in the photograph of him being carried out. How did you determine the position of his head, the orientation?
Well, let me bring up that image again. I think I went over that in details. I think maybe that's when I got cut off or I lost something like on audio. Well, let me see.
I think so.
Okay, was this the image we were talking about? Is this the image?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where we were.
Okay. As far as the position of the head, so you have to check the position of the head and the shoulders. Now, this is his temple. You can see from his hair splitting in this direction, and this direction. So that's the temple. Now, from here, you can see he's not looking forward by the ratios of the head. This is a longer section. If he was looking forward from right to left, it would be much narrower. So you can see this is his back, and this is his forehead.
Do we have a comparison of his head where we know the orientation so we can look at the hair patterns?
Not really, but this is his forehead.
Why not?
This is not the side of his head. I can see this little. Huh?
Why don't we?
Can you see the sliver of his forehead right here under his hair? Well, okay, let me show you.
I don't know what that is. Why don't we have a hair?
Let's go with it for the sake of time. I mean, we're about to hit 2 hours. So how about as a mediator, let's go with it.
Go with what?
Is that the image you're asking to compare to, or I'm not sure?
Sure. I don't know what you mean by go with it, Kelly.
Go see where he's
This is his-
going with the idea that his head is to the side.
Okay, this is his temple. You see the hairs go kind of splitting. This is like the point of the hair splitting in different direction. That's right here. Oh, very close to it. Everywhere else, hair kind of.
Blob.
So to me, this is his temple right here. And this is his forehead, which you can kind of see the sliver of it.
Maybe.
So to me, this is the
Like
position.
Kelly said, let's go with it.
Huh?
Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Okay, so this is the position of his head that I can make out, and I looked at it as, you can see it as detailed as I can. Now, you have to determine the position of his shoulder. You can only see one shoulder here. But where his other shoulder, it can be only as far back as this guy who carries him. It cannot be any further back because he is obstructing it. Now, it can be further forward, but cannot be any further back. So if his shoulder is as far back as it can go, right against this guy, which would be right about here, this would be the line between his shoulders, right here. His head is pointing in the same direction. Now, if his left shoulder is further forward from here, like say where I'm holding my pointer, that angle will be even greater. So at the very least, his left shoulder has to be as far back as possible to make this angle the least possible. And his left shoulder cannot go any further back than the guy that carries him. So his shoulder line will be right about here, in this line, and his head is pointing right in about the same direction. So to me, it's about 90 degrees tilt to the front, or parallel to his shoulder, from right to left, basically.
Is he face down or is he face up?
No, his face, his nose is right about here where I'm holding the pointer. That's his forehead right here.
Is he looking to the sky or is he looking to the ground?
He is looking about in this direction. That's what my arrow shows.
Okay.
My arrow shows us approximately where his gaze would be if he had his eyes open, would be in this direction.
Do we have the original image here that shows the position of his wrist?
What do you mean by original image?
We need to know the position of his wrist, right?
Of his what? Of his wrist?
Yeah.
Why his wrist?
Like which side is his thumb on?
No, why we're just talking about his wrist? This is his head.
To figure out what position his arm is in.
Well, I can.
Okay,
We
can
can
I ask what the point of where we're going with this is to determine where we need to pick apart this? What's the overall
I'm trying
point?
to figure out what position his body is in order to find out whether or not it is consistent with life.
Well, it's not the wrist; it's the position of the shoulder. His one shoulder is visible; the other shoulder would be as far back in the least angle position. I'm saying no point discussing greater angle, but the least angle, his shoulder would be against this guy right here. It would be right here.
All right. But to Kelly's question, the reason I'm digging into this is because if it is true that Charlie Kirk's neck is in an impossible position that is only achievable if he's dead, or if he has a severe neck fracture, then that would falsify faked death.
But I mean, are you saying that like it's impossible for someone to put their neck all the way? Like I have my chin to my shoulder. Is that basically what he's saying? Is his chin is all the way to the shoulder?
Well, the ladies are more flexible. Don't forget that. For a man, like I said, I cannot put my head in that position. I'm relatively flexible. Now, I'm not saying that Charlie couldn't. I'm sure some guys could be more flexible than me. So I'm saying it's possible.
Let me ask you this.
Not likely.
Which arm do we see here?
This arm is this is his right arm. Left arm is not visible. You cannot see his left arm here. Left arm is hidden behind Harpole here somewhere. It's shoulder.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay, well I'm sorry, that's his arm right here. I covered it. That's his arm right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay, let me flip to the next image.
That's why the hair pattern is so important.
Okay, can I show this, or this is too gross? I mean, this is McClintock.
Because what I'm saying is that this is his. You can't see my mouse. God damn it. We need to. No, I said a bad word. I'm saying that I think his head position is opposite what you're saying. I think you can't see my
Language.
freaking mouth. though.
Language.
Thank-
What am I
I
supposed
think-
to do?
Why did we go away from the graphic? I'm going to have to make another bad word.
You asking me?
I'm
not sure.
okay.
Are you trying to show me something, or are you looking at my images?
I'm
not sure.
trying to point to something on your screen, but I can't. I think that Charlie's head position is opposite what you're saying. That's why I think his head is facing downwards, not upwards. That's why the hair matters so much. That's why we need to do a side-by-side comparison of the hair.
I'm going to try to pull
If
the
His head is pointing
video.
downwards. You mean his face would be right here, right where my mouse is?
I don't know where exactly it would be, but we need to do a side-by-side hair comparison to find out.
Okay, well that's a good idea. I don't have that ready at the moment. I have to do it separately. To me, this little white sliver, that's his forehead. That's not his. If this was his side, this would be covered with a hair. He didn't
I
have
have
the
no
side.
idea. I have no idea what that is.
Well, to me, this white line, that's his forehead. To me, that's what it is.
So what broke his neck? While Kelly pulls that up, what do you think broke his neck?
Well, that fall, I showed you that fall where if he was unconscious, even if let's say he was not dead, but if he was unconscious and if you fall in a relaxed position with that kind of height, with your head flopping around like this, that could easily break your neck. In non-relaxed position, no, because body supports its own weight. But in a relaxed position, if you don't know what's happening and you fall when your head lands on the edge of that case, he landed right on the edge where nothing was supporting his head, and he landed on his shoulder.
Do we see the head move into an impossible hyperextended position?
In the video?
In the video, yeah.
No, the video gets
Okay.
cut off. We just don't have enough frames there.
Okay. Well,
I just see his head
I don't know
flopping
how we
around.
can determine that though, but okay, that's a good
Cannot
answer.
be
I'm not-
determined. That's just a possibility. Cannot be determined.
I'm not looking at the chat right now, but I know we have had someone who, a woman who is a nurse who has been who's adamantly said that, she does not believe that the neck is broken and has several reasons why.
What's her profile
She
name?
wants to chime in.
Lady Graham.
Katie Graham, yeah.
So what are the reasons?
I think this is a
listing?
continuation of something. Broken neck is much, much different. I'm scrolling backwards. Even someone who gets knocked out has a floppy head. I'm looking for the original comment that must have started this. Did you star it?
I believe so. Yeah, because I had said that we'd like to hear more from her.
Oh, here it is. I've dealt with people, Katie Graham says, I've dealt with people with broken necks, and I have dealt with dead people as a hospice nurse. That neck was not broken, and the body was not dead at the time of the fall to the hard case. Okay. I don't see any other ones. 10 Mamas, no, we're not doing that show, but thank you for the super chat. And then back to, yeah. Where did she say she's an RN? Or do you just know that?
Maybe I just didn't star it.
Okay, so she's an RN, and she says that the neck's not broken, but she's not here to talk to US 911, so it's difficult to argue that back and forth.
Well, since you mentioned the comments, and I did not get to this, let me show you one comment which was on your thread, which I saved. It was some time ago, and I was not a part of this conversation. It was on your thread. Maybe you've seen it, and I just caught it. I was just looking. I was in that thread.
Who is you? Are you talking to me or to Kelly?
Oh no, Jordan. This was on your thread. So this is a comment I said, which was on your thread. Okay, so you had somebody chatting. I just caught it, and I engaged this guy later. He actually gave me his friend's name later in the private exchange. But this was on your thread. My friend works at the morgue. He was meaning Charlie. They were like exchanging messages about Charlie. I didn't say it. He was brought to here in Arizona, he is 100% dead. And I spoke to him. We exchanged a few messages later in the private chat, and he gave me.
What's HIPAA?
Huh?
What's HIPAA?
Oh, it's the patient privacy. It's actually like an insurance protection act.
Yeah, so why are all these doctors talking about a specific patient?
In what context?
So, like, all these doctors are talking about a specific figure who is their patient, and they're just talking casually to other people.
Well,
this
as long
is
as they're not, using identifiable information, it's
Well, it's Charlie
okay.
Kirk. It's Charlie Kirk,
Oh.
right?
Jordan, are you asking me? Because this person was
Oh,
not,
well,
this was not a doctor.
he
This
was brought
not a-
here. Oh,
They're talking about a specific patient.
Oh,
oh yeah. I mean, then someone shouldn't. My friend works in the morgue. He was brought here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the person, well, this person wouldn't necessarily be in violation, but the person, let's see at the bottom one.
The friend who works in the morgue. would-
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the people who are leaking the information, yeah, they would be potentially be
Yeah.
violating.
well, I'm
I
not
was
sure if
probably-
you're referring to this comment. This person was not
Like
a
working in
doctor.
the emergency department. Come on, you can't be talking about that stuff.
Uh,
But that's my thought on that.
I don't know about this guy, but this is the person who had a friend. He was not a doctor. He just said, my friend works, and I engaged him.
What?
I asked him what the
Have you talked to this guy?
Huh?
Have you talked to this guy?
yes. I asked him. I asked him specific question what morgue it was and what's the friend's name. He did not want to reply in the comment section. He direct messaged me immediately, and I
Okay.
wanted to share it one time. You said you don't want me to do it. I was one time on the chat with you, so you don't want to share private messages. But he messaged me directly immediately. He gave me the morgue's name and the lady's name, but he didn't give me her last name. But he said, "You're welcome to check with the director that she works there." I did
Okay.
not bother
How did
checking.
you determine?
Huh?
How did you determine that you're not talking to an 8-year-old?
Well, he sounded pretty sincere, and I don't know. I did not really interrogate him. He gave me the morgue's name and his friend's name, and in fact, I even asked him to confirm it, and he took like 2 weeks. He said, "I'll talk to her in a few weeks." I said, "Can't you just call her?" He says, "No, I don't want to call her because I can spook her by some odd questions that she's not ready for. I'll see her
Did
in
you
person."
confirm it?
Huh?
Did
And
you
he
confirm it?
confirmed it 2 weeks later in our private message. She
No,
did
did
not.
you confirm it?
No, I did not confirm because he did not give me
Okay.
her last name. I could not contact her directly.
Yeah. So I ask you again, how did you determine that it's not an 8-year-old?
I could not. You just
Okay.
collect basically a bunch of this information like bits and pieces. This case is made of bits and pieces. You can disprove that, but you can only disprove so many things by
All right.
you have a lot of them. But this is not a proof by itself. It's not. It's just one of those pieces of evidence. It's
We're
not
gonna
an
go
outright
into
proof.
audience
It's not a proof.
questions. No.
If somebody
Okay.
gives you a morgue's name and it's an 8-year-old, they would not start giving you morgue's name and somebody's name of the friend who works there. They would not do that. So
Well, they're probably on their website.
and he says, I can check. He says, "You're welcome to check the directory that my friend works at that morgue." I didn't bother checking.
Right.
He sounded pretty sincere, but 8-year-old would not do that.
Kelly, should we go
I
into
think
audience
Jordan was
questions
being
on that?
sarcastic about that, but yes.
Okay. So if you want me
little
to
bit,
check, I can check, but I know the
I would
morgue's
like
name.
for you to check. Yeah, I would like for you to check.
Okay.
So we're going to go into audience questions now, I think, Kelly.
Yep,
Real
I think
fast,
that would be
because we
great.
are kind of at the end of our time here.
We are.
So Jack says the case that he falls on must be upside down. Why would the casters be facing you? That's a valid question, yeah. It seems like you would have placed it a little bit more smart. So maybe that was just a dumb mistake, or maybe fake death theory is BS. Who knows?
No, that mistake is very hard to make a case for, because if that was a spontaneous event, yes. But if somebody had to rehearse it 100 times, it's pretty hard to make that kind of mistake when you do
Oh, you have
rehearsal.
no idea, man. I have ADHD. You have no idea about careless, dumb mistakes that I make every day.
You would notice that mistake on the rehearsal. What I'm trying to say, you would fall in
I
that once
wouldn't.
or twice.
I
Huh?
wouldn't.
You would
I
not.
wouldn't notice it.
You would be falling on top of the caster, not noticing you're falling on top of the caster. Oh gosh.
I would, yeah. I would absolutely do that.
All right. Well, I have to take your word for it. I would notice it. Believe me, if their cast is sticking out, I would say, "Hey, I'm not following this. Turn the thing over." What's the point of having those casters at the worst position possible?
Maybe, All Guys put out a video today saying that he had a lip reading done, and apparently they're talking about the suitcase. So maybe Charlie was saying, hey, why the F are the casters right on my face? Maybe that's what was going on. Trippy Eye says, so they're willing to risk hoaxing this, but they wouldn't risk grabbing him wrong. Yeah, I think they would probably risk both. Any other comments? Okay. Carolyn A says, ask him how the hatch door plays in. Does the hatch to the underground play any role in your theory, US 911?
Not in my consideration. I don't never paid anything. I mean, I know it was there, but it did not configure into my way of thinking at all.
All right. Mr. Turpin says, ask him what he thinks about Red Hat Lady. What is she up to? Do you know about her?
And who is the red hat lady?
The lady with the red hat who's behind Charlie in that footage there, I think.
She crossed in front. Yeah, she kind of crossed in front of your shot a couple of times.
I think she was a photographer, and the reason why people ask so many questions because she seems to be moving so slow, but they forget that I play that video always at 10.5 or even 2% speed. And she was actually running like everybody else. And she seemed to be just a photographer, and I don't know if she was part of it or not. I could not see any clues on her specifically. She moves slow only because of the slow speed playback.
Okay.
So I cannot.
Hockey Girl says, wait, there is a foam thing he's landing on. I think it's probably partially foam. I don't think they're typically made out of foam, or they're not typically made out of foam, but I think there probably is some kind of cushion there. But yes, he did fall on that little crate thing, on that box.
You mean
US
9/11?
Did I hear you? Sorry, what did I hear you say? Were you pushing back on that?
I mean foam on top of that crate that he fell on? You mean that's
yeah.
You're talking about that surface? I'll show you that image. I think it's right here. That's his chart. I rotated this a little bit to align it the same way. That's his falling position. That's his neck. And this is the same image from video that's taken about 45 seconds later. And this is the same, just I call enhanced, but there's nothing here that looks foamy. And another point here to make, which is a separate issue altogether. This is exactly where his neck falls, right here. And you see there's no red mark there. There's nothing there. Yeah. And he was here in this position for about 7-8 seconds before getting turned over. You can actually see from a UV review that Flood turns him over about 7-8 seconds. You can see his hand goes up. So he was in that position on his left side, which his wound supposedly be on his left side, with his side, and there's nothing there. So that's another anomaly, which is maybe for another day. But
where's the blood?
Yeah, like where it all ended. And he was here 7-8 seconds right here. That's where his neck was.
Yeah, so, but the foamy thing, like those are the foamy things.
But
you see the foamy thing?
You mean
you look those up online, and they do have those little shapes on them, but I think that's probably a foamy thing.
I don't know. I know the cast is right here, and the other one is kind of hard to see. It's on the other side, and it's hard. I don't know what this is here, but this is the caster right here.
Mm-hmm. All right, Hockey Girl. Didn't I just do one of hers? Yeah. Hockey Girl never noticed that the thing he's landing on. She never noticed the thing that he lands on, and her mind is blown. There's no reason for that to be there unless it was planned. I agree.
Yes, I agree. I agree. This is another image of the same thing. I think this is
Oh, wow.
this is a part of the
That's okay.
case. This looks plasticish to me. I don't think this is foam.
Yeah. Okay. With that image, I agree. I need that image because I need to buy that crate. Where did you get that image?
Well, it's there's from the
Oh,
KSL News.
KSL.
I have the whole video.
What do you know? That's from Jason Behunin.
I just screenshotted that because I need to purchase that exact crate. That'll help.
Actually, I
Thank
have
you.
another one which is a little blurry, but it's a better image. But the camera started moving, so it's a little bit out of focus, but it shows this area better. See how there's no mark here. This
Yeah,
is
there's
where
no
his
blood.
neck is landed. When I showed you the image from the other side, his neck was right here, and there's nothing
Yeah.
there. I mean, you can see it's a little
It's
grainy
shady.
here. Huh?
It's pretty shady.
So, yeah. So, what I want to call out, you guys, about images like this that I think is really important is this, was something that was on the local news immediately. I don't know if we can see if you're able to zoom out at all. We might not see the exact timestamp, but you can still go back onto YouTube and watch their streaming coverage from that day. And you can see in real time as they were putting up these shots, you can see who they were crediting for the video and the photos. So to me, at least you have an idea of source material, and it was coming out that day.
Well, I have this full video. I can forward
No,
you.
I understand. I'm just making the point again for folks as they're trying to track where stuff is coming from and looking for those origin stories. It's worth noting. That's all.
Yes.
Well, since we're in this image, we kind of drifted off the subject, but let me show you something.
We got to move through the questions, man. We got to move through this stuff.
Okay. I wanted to
But,
show you something extremely
yeah,
important anomaly here. Okay, let's
Okay,
move.
real fast.
Huh? You want me to show you?
Real fast.
And this image, which I just showed you before, sorry, it's a little gross, but there's some red here below Charlie's waist. His waist is like here, and there's nothing where his neck landed, but there's something here, and all of it came out when he was still sitting on a chair. He's kind of was leaning, and all of it came out either when he was still sitting in a chair or came off the chair itself, because the chair said that something was pulled on the chair between his leg, and when the chair tilted, some of it came off the chair itself. So this was there, and I can see it's color enhanced. Not a whole lot, but something was there. However, that was taken about 45 seconds after the event. However, 10, 15 minutes later, there's almost nothing there, just a little few spots. So whatever was there has evaporated.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the same case from the other side, and there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So this is what I say, there had to be some kind of chemical substance which evaporated. This was not regular liquid, fake blood. It would still be there. It's not here 10, 15 minutes later.
Maybe, I don't know though. But
Yeah.
it's definitely sketchy. And I think that, like, why is that crate just conveniently in the perfect position to catch him? I think that's pretty shady too.
Well, I'm sure
What
it
is
was
the cost to upgrade the chair with rubber feet? There's no cost. They don't come with rubber feet. That's not how these chairs work. They do not come with rubber feet. 1202 Awakening says, I was kind of rude to that person. Chas M1167, they do not come with the rubber feet. It's like they don't come with it, just period. You can't find them with rubber feet, that specific model. So it's not like an upgrade. It's just they do not come with those.
Well, I'm sure that specific model, it would have to be a different model of chair.
Well, no, because it's the same model chair. It's the Matrix chair. 1202 Awakening says, I don't think a regular... Can we get this off the... I don't think a regular TIMS unit would be sufficient, but that's just from my personal usage of one in the past. Yeah, we'll have to do some experiments to find out whether or not it works. But that will come later. Hockey Girl again says, this could be great footage, but not knowing where it came from is unfortunate. I agree, and I think Kelly agrees too. I love these specifics. This is a great show. Thank you. This was the nurse. Oh, here we go. Muppet, I think he left by now, but he says, I'm not an expert in special effects. That is correct. I'm not an expert in special effects, so my authority only goes as far as my demonstrations. IP Adventure says Technica brand on Amazon is pretty close. I'll have to check it out. I think that's Arabic text script right there. I don't know what script that is, but hypothesis, reason for elevated chair, hints of desk. Yeah, they're saying that the elevation was due to line of sight when they have to remove this stuff off them. So they agree with me. Chewbacca says AI stated, I don't care what AI states. I'm getting grumpy. It's getting late.
We're almost done.
We were for like 2.5 hours on now already. Oh, what?
Almost.
Yep.
Oh god.
They say that McCash looks more like 910 Butch than Butch. Okay. I mean, I think that Rick Baker was Butch Hips because the voice is the same. But that's just me. Pure Johnness, I don't think that was a trick. I think the electrocution theory is a backup plan for if the plan with TR doesn't work, no one can be prosecuted for an accidental electrocution. Nope, that's not how that works. We do not get electrocuted by microphones anymore. There are so many safety features built in that it is practically impossible for that to happen in this country in this day and age. You do not get electrocuted by modern audio equipment. Naked. That sounds like naked, but little black fan on the raised platform is closest mains electrical. The chair could be made live. Nope, you can't make the chair live except for maybe the little posts on the side because it's not conductive. Even if if it's mega ohms, that picks up mega ohms. Okay, hold on. When we're talking about megas, we're talking about the reason you would use a mega ohm meter is in order to find the resistance between this coil through oil into the ground on that compressor right there. That's when you use a megger. And you're not going to use a megger in order to determine if that chair is going to electrocute you. That's what you use a megger for. It's for finding very, very, very small paths to ground. That's an HVAC compressor. Kelly's questioning of legitimacy of sources might explain it too. I'm not sure what it would explain, but yes, I agree that we should question the chain of custody. The absolute lack of conversation. I was hoping, Kelly, you would read it. The absolute lack of conversation among
I can chime in at any time.
I'll go grab a little bottle of water. I'll be back in like in 20 seconds.
We're almost done. Told you the absolute lack of conversation among security as they knelt to help Charlie. Zero conversation, and they are smiling as they disconnected something from Charlie is what convinced me.
Yes,
there's a lot of crazy stuff going on back there.
I didn't get a chance to get to that.
I'm just gonna wait and hope she just maybe decides to read it because I'm like the only one here. But all right, what is the next box? What is the box next to the fire extinguisher? Oh, this is good. Kelly, you know what that is, right?
Yes.
Let me pull that up real fast. I think I know what they're talking about. Is Mike Weaver still in the chat? Do we know?
Or at least what we suspect that it is, right?
Oh, we know exactly what it is.
You asking me a question?
No. Let me try to find it. I DM'd it to Kelly.
I've got, and I can, in the meantime, pull up the video.
Yes, please. I found it. This is really interesting because I don't think anyone's talked about this before.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go into here. And, oh no, I removed, no, I need to remove, oh God, there we go. And then add Kelly.
So let's
So-
see if I can, this over here. Sorry,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
if I
know
can read that.
exactly what that is now. We know exactly what it is. I'm going to show it to you now. Remove that. That's what it is. It's water weight sets. It is a counterweight for the tint legs to make sure it doesn't blow away in the wind. So that's what it is. It's just a counterweight.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Pretty cool, huh? See, we answer questions. We don't just ask questions.
I mean, it's a lot of digging, you guys, like relentless pursuit of the truth.
Pelican 1740, is that the exact case it is? I hope it is. Pelican 1740.
Yeah, because I think they call those pelican cases.
Yes. But the tricky thing is, whenever you look at the product photos for these things, they never show you the bottom. But I need to see the bottom, you know? I need to like go to a supply house and just see if they have cases. I almost got a job at a supply house once, but they didn't hire me. At a lighting theatrical supply house. AV supply house. I'm not sharing my screen. I think this is what they're calling it. But I can't see the bottom of it. So it's really hard to know. Because they only show the top. So that's unfortunate. But maybe it is a Pelican 1740.
Oh,
But these are expensive though.
this doesn't have the casters,
I-
though. This is not the same.
No, it does have the casters. But it might be different casters. I don't know.
It could be an older model, something like that. I mean, it's at least a solid lead to look into.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I see someone who said electrician here. Correct. I'm not sure exactly which part they're speaking about, but
No idea.
Oh.
I'm probably
Um,
talking about the Megger.
everything seems to be off the ground. Oh, hold on. Sorry. One moment. Okay. So I think Mike Weaver was asking in regards to that weight for the tent. Why?
The weight
Why
for
is
the
it-
tent.
Yes, the one that you just showed us. That's sorry, our show and tell from just a moment before. Yep. this
Why is
one.
it elevated?
Why is it elevated?
I don't know. I've been wondering that. Do you have a theory for that? Kelly?
I don't know. It's got a
US
cute little
11?
perch. The perfect little perch for it.
But while
US
you're on
911, do you have any theories?
as far as elevation of the, no, I didn't. Maybe the same reason why then flood is elevated. I don't know. But you're saying that the surface of the table is carpeted, so I don't know what to say.
It does seem kind of weird, but the one thing I will guarantee you is it's not because of electrical ground.
Okay, I don't know. But once you have this image, you were talking about elevation. If you were just without drawing any lines, I can draw your lines. If you were to lower this table by 16 inches and have it like this edge right here, and Charlie would be relatively also 16 inches lower in the ground there somewhere, if he didn't land in that case, but directly on the ground, it'd be the same view. Exactly. Maybe half a degree angle, maybe there'd be really no difference.
Or like I said, we have to put that in Blender and find out for sure. But why am I saying that the reason it's elevated is definitely not because it's some kind of electrical grounding? Because if you wanted to electrocute him, you do not use earth ground. The earth is extremely resistive. You do not understand how resistive earth ground is. It's not conductive. It is not a conductor that you would use to electrocute someone unless you're using lightning. That is the only, like, unless you have like a transmission line going to Charlie Kirk through the ground, you're not going to use earth ground as your path. You're just not. Like the voltage at your house, like it's so much smaller than what you would need in order for earth ground to be a suitable conductor for what you're doing. That's what everyone talking about electrocution theory doesn't understand. This ground thing is only relevant if there's lightning in the area. That's the only reason that would be relevant. That's how much voltage you need. If you were
would have to
electrocuting
be
him,
stepped up for sure. Definitely
if you
not
were
110.
electrocuting him, you would use metal conductors, not the earth ground. Go ahead.
Well, I did not insinuate it would have to be 110 volts. It would have to be stepped up so through some amplifier too. A couple thousand volts probably.
But you would basically need lightning in order for it to use earth ground. You do not use earth ground. You would use two metal conductors.
Well, of course, we don't really know what the bottom of that table was connected to either. Maybe there was another conductor connected to a leg of the table somewhere hidden in the grass. The fescue grass was 3-4 inches tall. There could have been a wire connected to the bottom of the table, which was all metal.
There's a lot of maybes, though.
Yeah, no way to determine that. But
all right, Kelly, you want to close this out?
Sure. We have just a couple more. I'm going to go real fast. We had a couple more that came through there in the last few minutes that I want to try to
highlight this one.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, we would love to have you talk about electrocution. And so the best way to connect with us would be to email tryandproveit@gmail.com. Or you can send us a DM on X, or if you want to on the Try and Prove It YouTube, you can let us know just with a comment, the best way for us to connect with you, something like that. But we would love to connect with you further. This was kind of interesting and morbid at the same time. I think they were talking about the Pelican case, but Jennifer asked if a body could fit in there.
Maybe. Not Charlie Kirk, though, because he's like 6'5", but maybe.
Maybe. Thank you, 1202 Awakening. Remote field test collabs research. It's a full-time job on its own. You are not kidding. I was curious what you meant on this one, but hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit more when you come on and talk about electrocution. Stage platform out edge aluminum. So I don't know exactly what you meant on that one.
Trying to get it past, but I don't think so.
Okay, and then one more theory on elevation of Dan. U0026 tent, etc. Their comm equipment, remote controls, etc.
Comm equipment is not like okay. No. That comm equipment is such low voltage that you're not going to make it through anything. Does not matter if you're like grounding is such a technical term and means so many different things in different contexts. Like when you talk about being grounded like on the dirt, that grounding is completely different from chassis ground for breaker protection, from the ground on a device. There's so many different versions of ground, and type of grounding we're talking about, where we're either standing on dirt or on grass, or we're standing on a platform, that is so far removed from the voltage regime that these little electronics are going to have.
But
well,
I
grass,
always,
if it's been watered, actually may be a lot more conductive than the dirt.
No, that still doesn't matter.
No.
Unless it's
I
like
always
raining
encourage
outside.
people though, go ahead.
If it's raining outside, then that can start to matter, but it's not raining outside. Go ahead, Kelly.
I mean, yeah, and there's also, music festivals happen in the rain. I don't know. There's a variety of different precautions that I think that are taken. But I just appreciate that our audience is everybody's thinking, everybody's invested, and look, we're all asking questions here, we're digging, and we're involved. So I appreciate it, and we're all trying to prove it. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. So on that note, please make sure that you are following all of us. We want to thank our guest again. US did 9/11. You can follow him on X. And please be sure to follow Try and Prove It on X, on YouTube, all the socials. You can follow Jordan Henshaw on YouTube and on X. He's Jordan Henshaw HQ. I'm Kelly Raybon. That's KeliRabon on all the socials. And we'll see you. Where are we coming up? Are we doing something on Saturday, Jordan?
I think so. I
Sorry,
would hope
Sunday.
to. Yeah.
Sorry, Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah. I
Sunday.
intend to.
Fantastic. Okay, well, you can count on seeing us Sunday, and then of course next Thursday for another episode of Try and Prove It.
Thanks for coming on, US.
You're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to appear. Sorry, I did not get a chance to cover everything. Well, not even a half again, but there's a lot to cover. But at least I went over something.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we will definitely we'll keep an eye on all of your continued developments.
All right.
Until next time.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Right.